Comic Timing is member supported by listeners like you over at patreon.com/comic timing. We thank you very much for your continued support of the show. $1 a month gets you behind the scenes access, like the recent diary entry that I just put out while lying in bed on a random Sunday, plus some behind the scenes audio, video, articles, whatever we can throw your way. Patreon.com/comic timing. One-time donations also available at paypal.me/IAM sci-fi. You like us, we like you. Thank you very much. Hey there, folks. My name's Ian Levinstein, and welcome to episode 293 of Comic Timing, the rare afternoon recording of a Comic Timing episode. We're not entirely asleep. Hooray. Hooray, Kris.
Okay, first off, why would you expose us like that?
Come on. By now they know that if it's about 11 o'clock, Brent's fading, and I'm not making any sense because we've been recording for 3 hours, and it's that type of experience. But no, it's a nice afternoon. It's
that sounds like that's a you problem. Everyone knows I'm chipper no matter what the hour. I could record at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, you could work on a panel at 3:30 in the morning. You could do anything that you want to do.
We've never done 3:30 in the morning. That would I would regret that.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not do that at all.
That's also, what was the latest we've ever done? Midnight?
I think we ended at like 12:30 one time. And that was an episode that I wound up splitting up into two because we just wouldn't stop talking. But yeah, for the most part, we're done by about
that might have been the panel. There was one panel where I think it was like only 2 people showed up.
Oh God, yeah.
And we had a 2-hour slot, and we're just like, hey, let's just hang out and do cool things.
Yeah.
And slowly lose our mind.
They made us like the last panel of the night, and I think we had 4 people in the audience or something.
I think more people came in later on because especially when there's nothing going on, and you're like, what's going on in here? Well, there seems to be a slideshow. That's cool.
Yep. Well, this episode will be our now pretty much annual FlameCon and Anime NYC wrap-up episode. We'll give reviews of both conventions, our experiences, and how they've improved, how they can improve, stuff like that. And any of you who are not in the New York area, I think you can appreciate these episodes either way, as you get to see what our take on a con is and how you might have a similar experience at a convention by you as well, whether it be, a local, LGBTQ friendly con or just, a comic book convention or an anime convention, either way. Our experiences are your experiences, if you want to go ahead and put it that way. That's the way I like to put it for these episodes.
I mean, what I've learned after this particular weekend, we will go into it in more detail shortly, is that I know way too much at this point.
Yeah, didn't we do a con survival guide panel once at Anime Next? Like, essentially?
I don't know. I don't really remember. I remember a friend of ours did. It wasn't great.
Yeah.
Whether or not we did one, I'm still a little fuzzy on. Like, I'd have to dig back into the records or whatever. And I don't have like every flyer I've ever made for panels. Not that I made them for every panel we did. That was for the people who are not familiar. Yes, we've been doing panels at mostly Anime Next, but also like Anime Boston, Otakon. And I remember when I first started doing them for Anime Next, I was genuinely kind of afraid no one was going to come. Yeah. So I made flyers, and I kept doing that year after year after year, and I started getting more kind of experimental and wacky with them.
It was great, yeah.
And I did find a bunch of them because, like, I made some of them in Word. I remember one I did entirely by hand, and I'm kind of tempted to bring that back now that we're all on this anti-AI stance. Everything must be hand-drawn and look like shit.
Yeah, and to start off with that, both conventions that we went to did their best to police the AI as much as humanly possible. Like, there were no AI allowed in the dealer's room or at the convention itself. outside of advertising for food, which we found at the Javits Center. There was one of the food stalls very obviously had used AI to produce their food, and I'm like, come on, it's an advertisement. You can't just take a picture of your own damn food and just place it on the banner.
Well, okay, so there's a few things I want to cover with everything you just said. That was a short sentence with a long answer, Ian. Yeah. So in terms of the artist at both FlameCon and Anime NYC,
Yeah.
we do not believe we saw anything that seemed to be AI.
Nope.
I would say at Anime NYC, there were a few booths where I had question mark over my head, but I wasn't about to start doing the deep dive. I think that Anime, because it was at Anime NYC, I would say Anime NYC, I would hope that they're vetting each booth by like looking at their Instagram accounts, maybe if they have Art Station, just seeing how old the accounts are, going back to them. Because there were like a few booths where I could be like, that could theoretically be AI, but I'm not seeing any of the telltale signs. Some of the food vendors, though, that was mostly at the Javits Center, that is handled through Javits, that is not the purview of the convention.
No.
They were very obvious AI restaurant signs. This is a whole genre. I'm sure a few of you have seen stuff online. This past week, there was an infamous, I will say now infamous photo of a burrito that everyone was calling the tryptophobia burrito, because it had a lot of holes in it, like almost like it was a macaroni burrito.
Very frightening.
Yeah, but though the creepier thing was that it looked like there were grubs falling out of it.
Yeah.
And my main issue with those, like, mind you, we have a whole bigger issue, with AI in our society. But my main issue is that no one ever seems to look at these and like think if they're appetizing or not. Like if it literally looks like, maggots are falling out of the burrito, why would you put that on a banner? It's like they literally did not look at it at all.
Yeah.
I actually, to know thy enemy, I took some Coursera courses on like AI prompting and everything just so I could understand it better. And it's amazing and depressing at how many of the lessons are just like, you should check your work. Check your work. Look at your outputs. Review your outputs before using them. Check your work. Check your work. Human in the loop. Check your work. Human in the loop. Human in the loop. Human in the loop. Over and over and over again. I mean, mind you, again, we've never done that promised episode we did where we just bitch about AI for 3 hours. But I think this continues in the same thread, is that you can talk about the art theft and everything, but there's also I think the also equally as prominent issue is that they unleashed this technology on a populace that was just never going to use it responsibly. And they clearly did not care because they are not responsible humans in themselves, as evidenced by the art theft. But it's just amazing to me. Like we walked by, it was like a chicken tinga type thing, or it was like, was it a Mexican booth?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, like had tortas and stuff, but like there's a very telltale thing you see on a lot of these AI generated food things where there's just random black spots all over everything. I guess the AI thinks maybe that's what the spices are.
I guess. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, to not have this turn into an entire rant about restaurants and their inability to use the internet, this has been a going trend for years, because if there's one thing that I hate is looking up a restaurant and finding out that they have the most basic website without even a menu on the website. Like,
I don't mind a basic website, but a basic website in my mind is, can I find the address?
Yes.
And can I find the menu?
Yes. And if you can't
the
find
address
either,
and the hours and the menu.
Yeah. If you can't find either, then it's bad.
Yeah, like those are the three things you need on a website. I don't even need pictures of the food, though that's nice. Most people just rely on like Google Maps for pictures of the food these days, which is fine because that's unfiltered.
Right.
But yeah, to go back to the convention, I mean, I can say that the food sections, so I guess we should talk about like FlameCon switch locations.
Yes, let's start there. Yeah, because FlameCon in our last year's episode, I mean, again, I wasn't able to attend last year, but you stated that the hotel that they were based out of last year was under construction, and it was hard to know which way to enter and exit, and it was a whole rigmarole of mistakes, essentially.
Well, I mean, they told people where to enter. It didn't make for an ideal experience.
Right.
Because I think you were supposed to come in from the sides, but it was very confusing. Well, they've had that issue with the past two
Mm-hmm.
like last year and the year before,
Yeah.
where they were telling people don't enter through the lobby, enter through the side entrances. Uh, I'm sure plenty of people did not read the emails. I don't think you
Mm-hmm.
should have an entrance plan that relies on people reading the emails.
Agreed.
Like
Agreed.
just have signage there saying
Yeah.
this way to the entrance. Don't,
Mm-hmm.
assume everyone's gonna, and mind you, the signage wasn't great. They tried to put out staffers to point people the right way, and I think that did somewhat help.
Yeah.
But the construction just ruined everything because, like previously, again, they didn't want people walking through the lobby, but now
Yeah.
the lobby had to be relocated,
Right.
and it was unavoidable to mix the lobby crowds of the normal guest, hotel guest,
Mm-hmm.
and the convention attendees. So that was, yeah, it was, you can listen to last year's episode, hear me complain all about it. But for whatever reason, we do not actually know. We're not privy to the internal workings.
Mm-hmm.
They have switched hotels, and
Yes,
it is still a Marriott.
Yes. It is
We've
the
gone
Marriott
from Marriott to
Marquis.
Marriott. Yeah, we've gone from Marriott to Marriott to Marriott.
Yeah.
It used to be like it's Marriott, Brooklyn Bridge, in downtown Brooklyn for a while, and then it was the Marriott Times Square, which is not in Times Square,
Mm-hmm.
and now we are at the Marriott Marquis, which actually is in Times Square. Is that
Yeah.
confusing? Yes.
And mind you, this is that Marriott. If you want to watch a very fascinating documentary on how the Marriott Marquis destroyed 5 Broadway theaters, Wait in the Wings has a 53-minute long video on it that I myself haven't had a chance to watch yet, but it's on my queue waiting to be watched. But I know the basic history of it, which is this used to be a location of multiple Broadway theaters, and when they decided to build the Marriott Marquis, one was relocated into the hotel itself, and a bunch of other old Broadway theaters were destroyed in the process. So it's kind of the history of New York there. This happens a lot, but this is the current location of where the Stranger Things show is. So that's the intermingling that we got to experience here, is that on your way up to FlameCon, there were staffers pointing you to the FlameCon to the right, Stranger Things to the left, and all the Stranger Things matinee people were heading in one direction, and then FlameCon people would head in the other direction. And then once it was a small enough amount of people, then you were able to go up the escalator and head to the main floor for FlameCon, which was 1 floor up from there. So
Was it 1 floor up? It was on floors 5 and 6.
yeah, no, you're right. 2 floors up, 2 floors up.
Yeah, because I mean, mind you, I don't think I've ever been in the Marriott Marquis when it's been set up like that.
Mm-hmm.
Marriott Marquis used to be home to sorry, like I think the Big Apple Anime Fest
Mm-hmm.
and Anime Expo New York. That was only 3 years, so it's not
Yeah.
like it was some long-standing relationship. But that was probably the last time I was in that hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, yeah, like they tore down 6 Broadway theaters, but in fairness, I will point out this is before Broadway became like the big, cultural behemoth. Why is my
Behemoth.
like the juggernaut?
Yes.
It was, because really that didn't pick up until like the 90s. I mean, though, mind you, you can blame like Andrew Lloyd Webber for putting out these big, poppy shows. Like, there's a reason why Broadway keeps doing things like jukebox musicals because, that's how they're going to stay in business.
Yeah.
Back when they were still artiste, nobody was going. Also, New York, late 60s, 70s, most of the 80s, we were in an economic depression, drop dead, all that stuff. So it's not like I'm happy they tore those theaters down. I'm just like, I get it. It's crappy. I wish you hadn't done that.
Sense.
Just like so many things they shouldn't have done. They shouldn't have torn down Penn Station. They,
Oh, please. We could have an entire separate podcast that is not comic timing about why that was one of the worst things that ever happened in New York. And the Bowery Boys already did it. So go ahead and listen.
Yeah, I was going to say,
theirs.
Yeah, just listen to the Bowery Boys talk about it. They have a good overview of I think it's 2 episodes actually.
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah.
But yeah, so I've been in this hotel before for a convention. I will say it's a huge improvement over the previous hotel
Most
because
definitely,
the problem with the Marriott Times Square is it's not made for larger conventions.
Mm-hmm.
It's very it's laid out kind of confusingly. You'd be on this balcony and you could see panel rooms below you and have no idea how to get down to them.
Oh boy.
That was like a common occurrence.
Yeah.
It was nice when FlameCon expanded and started using more floors, But yeah, just getting around, and they blocked off some of the staircases. I'm never a big fan of that. I understand there's like crowd control, and mostly
Yeah.
you're trying to limit the points of access,
Hmm.
but it creates a less than ideal experience for the attendees. And I always wonder if there's an emergency, if people are going to be able to evacuate safely.
That's a good question.
You know,
Yeah.
when you've put up like stanchions or whatever, somebody doesn't move them right away, like, is that going to
Hmm.
stop things? I don't, again, these are all hypotheticals, especially we're not even in that hotel anymore.
No, no, we're not.
The Marriott Marquis has a lot more open space.
Yes, it does. Yeah. And any of you watching the video right now see the from above view of what the dealer's room looked like. And dealer's room slash exhibit hall for this, I thought was laid out pretty well. It had a nice wide open space, and then it had the autograph areas and a couple of other tables, one floor up, which was easily accessible via stairs.
Yeah, we'll do the alt text. The alt text is what you are looking at is an image of a wide open convention, like a hotel meeting room
Mhm.
with a dark bluish floor with gold accents. There are about 8 rows of tables laid across them,
Yeah.
strewn with all sorts of art and other, comic related products.
Mhm.
Pinks, blues, and purples abound.
And
Yeah,
free Neutrogena products. You know,
yeah.
whatever you want on this floor,
Yeah.
you were able to find.
Yeah, around the on the that's the first level. On the second level, there appears to be a balcony. You could mostly see like the wall, the outer wall of the balcony with the
Mhm.
railing, but
Yeah.
barely visible are a few tables. Yes, as Ian said, that's where some of the autographic stuff is.
Hmm.
The nonprofits that were exhibiting at the
Yes.
show.
Hmm.
Uh, it wasn't, I will say now, going out of the alt text thing here, is that I liked that upper area.
Yeah.
My only issue is because it was horseshoe shaped. It wasn't a circle, so there was
Hmm.
basically a dead end on
Sure.
both
Yeah.
sides.
Yeah, yeah. So you had to make your way back, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but yeah, a little bit of a pain if you're trying to get past people. But we didn't really experience any bottleneck on that side, so it worked out pretty well. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised it wasn't. I was just happy that it seeed to have the right amount of people
yeah.
because it's very easy for it to be deserted up there.
Most definitely, yeah. We stopped for a little bit and talked to a Brooklyn public library.
That wasn't up there.
Oh, that wasn't that was
Oh,
down there. Yeah, you're
well,
right.
the
You're right.
person that we recognize. So in the
Mhm.
gaming room, we
It's the
popped into the
gaming
gaming
area.
room.
You're right.
We popped
Yes.
into the
Yeah.
gaming room shortly before we left. I mostly because
Mhm.
I knew that the arcade stuff was being done by Boshi's Place,
Mhm.
which is, I guess you could say, like an experimental art collective slash exhibit space in
Mhm.
Brooklyn, in Bushwick, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I've gone to a bunch of their events. They're very nice people. And I popped in. I didn't see any of the video game people I recognized, but there was a table from the Brooklyn Public Library promoting their board games library. And the woman behind the table, she was like, "You guys look familiar." I said, "Yeah, we played games with you at PAX Unplugged."
Yes.
So
Yep.
yeah, I remember we played 2 games with her. One of them was like that ghost light game thing,
Hmm. Yep.
like a poltergeist type game.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? Do you remember?
I don't remember what the second one was off the top of my head, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's just if you go to enough conventions, you're going to run into the same people, and I always appreciate when that happens, especially when it's local people from your area, and you first run into them in Philadelphia, and then you run into them again in New York. So that's
Well,
great.
you have to like realize like PAX Unplugged is not a huge convention.
No,
FlameCon is not a huge convention. It's never going to be if it stays in August.
yeah,
If that works for them, it works for them. I'm not going to say that FlameCon should or shouldn't move its date. It used to be in June, so it could be in Pride Month, but apparently, or I don't even know if they said this. It's just very obvious to me. It's hard to get a spot in
yeah,
June, not
definitely.
even because of Pride Month, but because of proms.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like to
Yeah, no.
get the hotel's exhibition space is difficult in June.
Yeah,
So,
I mean hotels in general, like you said, because of prom season, that is not going to be a very easy thing to get, and distancing themselves from that a little bit makes sense. And I do kind of appreciate weirdly the 2 straight weekends of con thing. I didn't think I would, but it's kind of nice to get it. I hate to say the words out of the way, but like FlameCon one weekend, Anime NYC the next weekend, then a little bit of a breather, and then New York Comic Con in October. Like that's not too bad for me. Like
I don't know. I love it. Is like I'm tired, and it kind of eats my brain.
Yeah,
because you want to like get ready for the con, and then you have to recover from the con. Though with FlameCon, it's not something I really give a lot of thought to because I'm not doing panels.
Right.
I'm not exhibiting. I don't have to travel. And
Yeah.
I mean, the same kind of goes for Anime NYC, though this year I did do a panel. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So that also did eat my brain a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I guess it's like fun to do. I also think I appreciate them being at the end of August because the end of August is a dead zone for New York City.
That's
like
true.
a lot of people leave town. I don't know about tourists. I mean, I'm going to assume a lot of tourists aren't really coming in because they come from places where school has already started. School doesn't start in New York until after Labor Day because we're civilized human beings. We're not sending kids to school in 96-degree, summer heat or whatever. Not that it can't be hot in the first week of September. I'm aware.
No,
but yeah, it gets very quiet the last 2 weeks of August. You can pretty much go to bars that normally are packed. You go get the restaurant reservations. So I'm assuming it's a combination of tourists having to take their kids or whatever, and just like people who aren't native to New York are like, I'm gonna go and visit my parents for a little bit. And that kind of stuff. It's just, because even Williamsburg is deserted. It's so weird.
Oh, I know. I still remember that one time that we went there. It was either Labor Day weekend or the weekend before Labor Day weekend, and like we were the only ones on the street in Williamsburg. It was crazy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nobody was there at all because all the college kids hadn't gotten back yet, and everybody else was on vacation. So
yeah. Also, another good time is around Christmas. You go maybe the 26th or the 27th. It's usually pretty empty because again, people go home for Christmas. They haven't returned. I mean, they'll come back for New Year's.
Yeah.
But there's a little gap in there as long as you're not doing anything touristy because Christmas week is very touristy.
Yes, very, very much.
But yeah, like the con it got a good crowd. I thought that was really nice. And I will say one of the things I worried about in previous years, and I fully understand why this rule was in place, is that FlameCon has a strict masking policy. I have nothing against masking policies. I agree with them for the most part. I like not getting sick.
Yes.
I'm not immunocompromised, but I would prefer to just never have those issues. I've had COVID twice. I'd like to not get it again.
Agreed.
They relaxed that this year. Because my previous worry was that some people, not everyone is going to be, like me, where we're just like, okay, I'll put on a mask, no big deal.
Yeah.
That I was worried it might be keeping people away. It looks like they've relaxed the policy. Staffers were required to have the mask, which, is within their control, but also fair because, if you're going to be working all weekend, you're probably most at risk for getting sick anyway.
Of course. Yeah.
I did keep a mask at hand. My general rule now is if I smell human, the mask goes on. If I can smell like your BO or whatever, the mask goes on. One, because I don't want to smell BO, but also it means that if I'm smelling your body odor, it means I'm probably getting your germs as well.
Yeah.
If I smell air conditioner, I'm like, okay, that's the air conditioner being the air conditioner. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think that might have helped though, is my wonder.
It's very possible. I mean, we don't know this for a fact, but I honestly feel like the location may have helped a little bit, which is crazy because they put it dead, now it's dead in the middle of Times Square, but that also means it's by every single train line, essentially. Like every single train line that you possibly could get to, you're going to have a way to get to this convention in one way or another.
I don't think it was really that hard. The other location, at the Marriott Times Square, which again is not in Times Square, you had the F train, the E train, the NQRW were not too far away because you could just walk over to Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
And I guess the 1, 2, 3 is probably in walking distance, but I don't take those, so I couldn't. If somebody wants to tell me, no, Kris, it's a long walk, nah. Well, yeah.
No. What I was going to say though is that, however, although there, the attendance looked like it was really good for this. One thing that I will say is, I mean, both of us did this year, and I still feel this way. To me, FlameCon is a one-day con. Like you can go either the Saturday or the Sunday. I'm not I'm not of the mind where I have to go to every single day of this con.
It
And
does not have must-have events.
yeah.
It
Hmm.
doesn't have like big tentpole events that you're dying to go to. Like they're not going to get any industry panels. There
Hmm.
was a Kodansha industry panel, but it was not like a we're going to reveal stuff type
Right.
panel. It
Right.
was more like we're going to highlight LGBTQ comics. Because the thing is, they're going to hold, if they were going to have any announcements, it would have been the next week at Anime NYC. But
Hmm.
most of the announcements were already made at Anime Expo.
Right.
So they're not really going to have any of that because for regular companies, I'm sorry, like it's getting confused here because you got the anime manga side and then you have American comics and FlameCon straddles both of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, like San Diego was not that long ago. So most of that big stuff would have been at San Diego.
Hmm.
It wasn't a huge announcement, but I mean, it was a huge announcement to me last year when Kodansha said that Boys Run the Riot was getting a sequel.
Hmm.
And I even Googled it. I was trying to find out if it was already like known, and it kind of wasn't. But they kind of used that announcement anyway to promote Anime NYC because Boys Run the Riot, which is this manga about this trans fashion designer, it had 4 volumes. It won some awards and then it just ended, right? But it was like really popular. Librarians are, it's like they're kind of told that this is one of the things you can promote because it's like stuff that kids are interested in and it's got representation. Like it's just generally a comic people really support.
Right.
And so the sequel, like I said, it wasn't really announced, but they said it was going to be part of that giant young magazine compilation that they released at Anime NYC. So
Hmm.
the panel kind of was promoting that magazine, but also
Yeah.
pointing out, hey, this comic that everyone loves is getting a sequel. Like it was a good way to highlight something I think would often go overlooked.
Right.
But
Definitely.
I didn't go to the Kodansha panel this year because it was Sunday. I didn't feel like going anywhere on that Sunday. I was just tired.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, like there's nothing really must have. We did go to a few panels and they were
Hmm.
very casual, very chummy,
Oh yeah.
but I don't think I would have been like broken up. I wouldn't have had real FOMO out of
No.
some of the panels.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, that's a problem because like the contrast with Anime NYC, I'd say I still have to go for a few days. Even if I managed to do, say, the entire dealer's room floor in one day,
Mhm.
there's still enough panels scattered throughout the weekend
Yeah.
that I feel the need to go on multiple days.
Yeah.
Yeah, FlameCon, I mean, how do they fix this? I mean, mostly just by accepting more panel applications.
Hmm.
I mean, trying to get more rooms in the hotel, that might be the bigger issue, is that despite the switch to this bigger, more open hotel, the rooms were really small.
The rooms were really small and the air conditioning was very inconsistent. Especially in the last room of the day that we went to, the smaller room. Let's go through the panels that we went through that we went to real quick. On Saturday at 1:30, there was the comics reading comics panel, which I decided to go to because it looked like it was going to have some comedians on it. One of the things about FlameCon is that if you have people listed in the description of the panel, don't be guaranteed that you're going to get every single person that's listed on there. Like, for instance, here, Aiden Ewing was listed as moderator for this, and that's not who the moderator was for the comics reading comics.
Well, they can't help it if somebody
No, I
drops
know.
out because
Yeah.
they're sick or whatever. I
Hmm.
am a big fan of listing who's going to be on a panel, though. Like
Yeah,
again,
no,
even if
definitely.
you can't guarantee,
Hmm.
I my bigger thing is I see a topic that looks interesting. I want to see who's going to be on it because I want to know why they're the people giving this talk.
Yeah. No,
Because it
definitely.
drives me nuts when you see a thing that could be like a history of, depictions of France in anime. And if I find out it's like a scholar of French literature, that's more interesting than
Yeah.
like, Sacre Blue 27, who's from like Tallahassee or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
need to know. And mind you, if you're a random YouTuber, like you could still be notable, but
Hmm.
if I want to be able to look you up and know what you're talking about.
Sure.
This is why
Yeah.
whenever we used to do our panels, we always put a slide of like, here's who we are,
Hmm.
just FYI.
And you should, yeah. That's it's a good way to get to know the person who's speaking, and if you want further information on them, you can certainly look them up. Which is why now now the QR codes exist. That's also a great way to do that in the slides. But this comics reading comics panel did have some comedians on it. It was about Wanda the Scarlet Witch and her weird ass history, and they went into some of the early appearances of the Scarlet Witch and the wizard stuff and
I was surprised. I was surprised they well, not surprised, but they brought up some issues because there was a period of time when Wanda was known as Wanda Frank.
Yeah.
And I remember like there was some confusion in the room and even Ian didn't really know. And I'm like trying to explain it, but even I'm kind of fuzzy on it despite having actually read the comics.
They've had the worst parentage history out of any characters in the history of the Marvel universe. And that includes Lorna Dane Polaris with the is she or isn't she Magneto's daughter. Like these guys have had like 7 different things. They've been mutants and not mutants, like Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, whatever the hell you want them to be, that's what they are in that specific.
Yeah, no, they've been victims of just not. I mean, a lot of characters were created without having their backstories fully thought out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're probably 2 of the worst. Because like they were always meant to be kind of ethnic, and I think the Frank thing was a way to make them less ethnic and also kind of pull them in further into like to give them like more grounding in continuity, and I guess try to legitimize them because you remember they debuted as villains.
Yes.
And so like be like tying them into heroes, kind of trying to pull away from that. But I mean, to me, that's what made them interesting.
Oh yeah.
And I like the origin of like, yeah, they were working for their dad, but they didn't know he's their dad. It's kind of crappy, honestly,
And Stan Lee's origin. Well, he wanted Jean Grey to fight a lady, so he created the Scarlet Witch so that Jean Grey would have someone to fight. So.
Which is why Wanda was also kind of her power set was completely useless and stupid at first. There's she can make you trip. I mean, that was literally her thing. It was just
I know.
Trip, stuff falls on you.
Which kind of then became Black Cat's MO with her bad luck powers, but a little less useful than what Black Cat has utilized hers as over the years. The original hex abilities of Scarlet Witch before she was a witch.
Yeah, because you have to remember, like, even you think about it, a lot of the women in Marvel, like, their power sets were not great.
No.
Like, Jean was a telekinetic, not a telepath when first introduced. And once they finally, like, fleshing out her origin, they're like, oh, yeah, actually, she is a telepath. And that's how she met Xavier.
Right.
But as a telekinetic, it was just like, hey, Jean, can you lift this box? I don't know. It's so hard. Oh, Jean, you're doing such a good job. And then, 10 years later, I have eaten a planet.
Well, I mean, she was hungry, so I can completely understand that. Like sometimes you just got to eat planets, man. That's just the way it rolls.
Yeah, but it was like a fun idea for a panel. Let's be honest. Even though it was billed as comics on comics and it has that veneer of professionalism on it, it really was just a bunch of fans who just wanted to kind of goof around in a room.
Oh yeah,
which could be fun if you're okay with that. They had selected excerpts from certain issues she was in, and they were reading them out loud. They had little costume props that they would put on whenever they were reading it. All of the panelists were dudes, so it just kind of added that the cross sorry, I'm trying to think of the proper word here. Just like I want to say cross-dressing aspect of it, I guess.
Yeah.
The moderator was another, like, she used to write for some shows they mentioned.
Yes, she wrote for Reservation Dogs, if from what I remember.
Yeah, so an actual professional. I will bring up the one issue we had with the panel, and a lot of it sadly lays at her feet, was that the slides became out of sync with what they were reading on the thing. She wasn't. I don't know what she was doing, because I mean we noticed it right away that they weren't matching up, and she's like, oh, they're all out of order. And I said, I don't think they are. I think you just need to pay attention and look.
Her problem is that they had included the title slide again in between issues, and that's what threw her off, because she saw the title slide again and was like, "Oh no!" It jumped back.
That's how you know someone's a last minute fill in.
Yeah.
Though the thing is, like, I will give my advice, like, yeah, even if you're a last minute fill in, at least try to look at the presentation so you know what the rhythms of it are going to be.
Sure. Yeah.
Ask questions. You know, just. But yeah, it got thrown off. She actually had to get off the stage and sit down in the front row and actually look and scroll through the things.
Hey,
and
whatever you got to do.
Yeah, once they got back on track, it was a little easier. Like, the guys were still doing their thing. They were doing a fine job. It was pretty funny. Yeah. It was frustrating because we're all like, no, back, no, you're going back. Ah! You know?
Yeah, because we were sitting like right behind them at that point, and we're like, no. Okay, you're good. And then eventually it caught back up. Yeah. But it was a nice way to start off the con, essentially, because that's when both of us got there, and it was a nice chill way to do it. Then we walked the exhibition hall a little bit, and then at 3:30 that day, we went to the Graymalkin Lane Podcast presents Mutant Fashion review, which again had been billed to have Megami from RuPaul's Drag Race, and then I didn't even realize she wasn't at the panel, but she was on the floor in full Scarlet Witch garb. So I did manage to grab a picture of her on the floor, but yes, she was not there. But we did have one drag queen as part of the cast, and that was Demanda Martini from the DC area.
Yeah, she was dressed as Gossamer. From the New Mutants comics, which I'm like, that's a bit of a cut. I do appreciate that when I go to FlameCon, is you will get those deep cuts into X-Men lore.
Most definitely. Yeah.
And again, I'll reiterate over and over again, it's okay to like X-Men if you're straight, but there's a reason why so many fans are queer, because it is the queerest freaking mainstream comic out there.
Oh my God, yeah.
For people to get mad because Gambit wore a crop top, they have not been paying attention for decades.
Yeah. Chad Anderson, the host of Graymalkin Lane Podcast, along with Scott Free and Demanda Martini and Anthony Oliveira, and I think a couple of other one other person that wasn't billed originally showed up, was essentially doing snicked or kicked for 90s fashion in the Marvel universe. And boy, oh boy, were there some interesting choices there throughout, because the 90s, they believed in less is more in a lot of situations when it came
a lot of the shots were actually from the swimsuit special.
Yes.
Which I'm fine with. I really liked the swimsuit specials, and I don't mean that in it's my Spank Bank comic.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed just like how silly they were.
Oh, definitely.
They'd have these like silly little, the captions and everything were just completely outrageous and crazy. Yeah. But looking back on them, I now appreciate them for how homoerotic they were. Like, you're thinking, oh, they're doing like the swimsuit special, like Sports Illustrated. They're going to have lots of women with their titties out and everything. And they're like, no. Here's Colossus in the tightest ass Speedo. And I'm just like, cool. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I don't know if you realize what you just did. Again, the reason why there's so many queer fans out there.
The Colossus one in particular sticks with me. Like that image is like it's embedded in my brain when I think of the swimsuit issues. I think of that one in particular.
Yeah. I really like the Doctor Doom one.
That's good too. Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense because he's still wearing his armor.
I know. Yeah, but don't worry, it's his nautical version of his armor, so it's fine. It's perfectly fine.
Like I said, they were just ridiculously silly. Just that I'm glad they're back.
Yeah.
So they would go back and forth. Ian had showed the shot. It was with like a Black Widow in like a swimsuit, but it's not really a swimsuit.
Yeah.
I guess I think it was one of the panelists said that's not an outfit. That's like the remnants of clothing.
Yeah. Oh God. And the one that I have on screen now, whose outfit was that? The one that was like so over designed, you could barely even tell there was a human being behind it.
I'd have to zoom in.
Hold on. Let me do that real quick. Here we go. If I move over,
I can't help you, Ian.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Okay. So the shot that Ian's put up on the screen is Namorita in some Atlantean armor that she actually borrowed from Namor. So it shouldn't look good on her at all because she has a completely different build than Namor.
Right.
However, it is revealing in all the ways that would look good on Namor.
Oh,
not Namorita.
It basically made Namorito look like a cyborg that had been damaged in action. And
Yeah, it was just bad.
yeah,
I feel like if I had gone to a different college, I should have gone to FIT. I probably would have ended up writing a school paper on the history of fashion and superhero comics.
sure.
Because I think one of the things that is better about today's comics,
Hmm.
you can't even fight me on this because I am absolutely correct, is
Yep.
that the fashion in comics is better now.
Oh, most definitely.
Because when you look at comics from before the 2000s or so, like there's no thought put into civilian clothing.
Hmm.
Like artists would put all this thought into like, I'm gonna design a new outfit and I'm gonna add some buckles and a jacket and
Yeah.
I'm gonna put some stripes over here and I'm gonna make it low cut so you can see her titties. Like so much thought went into the superhero outfits, but then you would see them in their civvy clothing and it was just like parachute pants
Hmm.
and like I don't know what the word for it is, but a male blouse, a blouse on.
I'm gonna go with a mouse. That's
Yeah,
what
I
it's
know.
called.
I think the word is just blouse on or whatever.
Got
You
it.
can correct me. I don't care.
Thanks.
Was it like pirate shirts?
Oh my God, pirate shirts.
Pirate
Yes.
shirts were definitely a thing you saw a lot in comics. Like there's just
Mhm.
no thought into it. And
Yeah.
I would have like I was a paper I would have loved to write. And also just how real world fashion trends find their way into superhero costumes. I mean, just look at Nightwing's original costume.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
most 70s coded thing, you know,
Jeez. Jeez.
70s early 80s coded thing that like V-neck with the yellow the feathers. It was I don't
Oh,
hate it. I know some people on this podcast probably love it. It's
it,
just
it, it's
it's a
it,
choice.
it's a disco outfit. That's what it is. Like
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to. And you're right. I mean, it worked for the times, but I'm very glad he doesn't wear that now and watch it and wear something a lot more practical. So
Yeah, well now we get his beefcake butt.
exactly.
But yeah, it was a fun panel. I think making fun of the fashion choices is
Hmm.
always a-okay because again, I think today's artists are putting a lot more thought into it, but
Yes.
looking back when they didn't is always kind of fun.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And I liked that they would ask the audience, some of the audience members to weigh in, and it was always the cosplayers who went up. Like I was just not going to go up there because I'm like, look, I look like shit. I'm not doing this. But so it was nice to see like cosplayers weigh in because, you know, if anybody's going to know about fashion, it's the people who are making their clothes.
Oh, yeah. I came this close to going up, but like there was enough people raising their hands and walking forward where I didn't need to be the sacrificial lamb in that situation.
Also, yeah, they already made fun of you once because we were in that one panel. They're like, yeah, all the buys and all the pans and okay, what about our street allies? And Ian went, woo, and I said, don't be proud of that.
Ally.
Yeah, so I'm like, because that's generally my opinion. Is I'm like, okay, if you're an ally, great, but it's not something to really announce to the world
I know,
because
I know.
you're getting a gold star for not being a dick.
Can I get a bronze star at least? I just want a star. Like
That's just stolen valor, Ian.
all right, fine.
Yeah,
These,
I feel somebody might feel called out by that, but it's just that's just the way I feel. I'm like, you know, just be a good person.
yeah. The one thing I wish they'd put more of are some of Bobby Drake Iceman's horrible fashion choices over the years because he has a lot. He has a lot.
There's
And
a reason. I think that's the reason like people would read into him. It wasn't just that he had bad luck with women because straight
yeah,
guys can be horrible with women, as we know from the internet these
that is
days.
true. Yes.
But you know, some of his outfits, he was always depicted very metrosexually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and to go into that theme a little bit further, the last panel of the day that we went to, which was by far my favorite of the panels, was queers seeing themselves marvel in the 1980s and the 1990s, and it was a lot of the same players that were in the Graymalkin Lane one. As the moderators were Chad Anderson and Daryl Richard Lawrence, but we
And
also
Scott
had,
Free and yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, keep talking.
and Scott Free and Amanda were on it as well. But we had Gregory Wright of Marvel and Terry Kavanagh of Marvel on this, telling their stories of working on characters and working on comics in the 80s and 90s. And kind of the evolution of queer identity in comics throughout that time. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was just like a little intimate chat. What it looks billed at is like I like bringing together, they like bringing together professionals with the fans to
Hmm.
you know let them engage in
Yeah.
dialogue about this
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
I think it is the type of panel that FlameCon can do very, very easily. Though, let's be honest, you could do that at New York Comic Con where you could have a panel where you talk about queer representation.
Hmm.
The only issue is like the corporate side of things because panels, New York Comic Con relies on sponsorships.
Yeah.
So they might not want to be as controversial. They're not going to shit talk as much. And here they were a little more willing to be like a certain, EIC was definitely like shooting down things back in the
DeFalco.
day. Yeah. Yeah, I can't hear that name without hearing Ian go DeFalco anymore.
Yeah, they went into that. They went into, the fact that in the 80s and 90s, you could have gay characters, but you couldn't really call them out as gay, because that it just wasn't fashionable at the time in order to have them be front and center like that.
Yeah, I don't even know if fashionable is the word I would use.
Yeah,
but it's like because it was. I mean, they made North Star. They were like, oh, maybe he's a fairy instead of gay.
Yeah, and it turns out he was both. No, but yeah, I don't know. I guess you just had maybe subtle. It would be the word that you had to be. Like you had to be more subtle about it, or more tight-lipped about it, closeted. Quite frankly,
I mean, that's what closeted essentially is.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, since we talked about X-Men, I mean, one of the more famous examples is Mystique and Destiny, who are
totally.
very good friends.
Yeah, not anymore. Now now it's all out. Like now it's on the ground, but they couldn't do that until today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, eventually they were comfortable with making them a couple, and it took a while to get around to Claremont's original idea where Mystique was actually Nightcrawler's father.
Yes.
It's still kind of a crazy idea. Even now, I look at that, I'm like, I love it. I think it's absolutely insane and like perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, they talked about the Silver Sable comics.
Silver Sable.
And just how queer those comics were, like when it came down to it, like especially the one character that they kept mentioning in there. For the life of me, I'm not going to.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't help you with that because I read the first few issues. I don't know if that character was actually in those.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm seeking to see if I can pull it up real quick.
But they had introduced essentially they had introduced the lesbian character into Silver Sable for a little bit further representation. It's just once again it had to be a character that was lesbian but could not actually be mentioned as lesbian in the comic itself because that's just not something that you did. But that's it's funny too because like they even asked them whether or not there was an official edict that had been put out by Marvel.
Yeah, I'm looking. Is it Amy Chen?
That's it, Amy Chen. Yes, that's exactly who it is.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. That is 100% the character. So thank you for the research there.
You mean looking up on Wikipedia?
Yes, that would be it. Yeah, Amy Chen was definitely the character that they were talking about in these particular issues and characters. But they asked them on the panel whether or not there was actually an official edict that said, you can't say the word gay, and there was no official edict. It was just kind of implied multiple times by multiple editors without actually saying those words. So yeah, that's just the way things were back then. Either way, it was great to hear the conversation and history behind the making of these comics, and then they gave out some comics at the end, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they were signed like issues of like Silver Sable and stuff, which I managed to get home like uncreased, weirdly enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here.
I shoved it in my little side bag, and I was expecting it to be all beat to shit, and it's actually in good condition. So maybe I'll bag and board it when I can find a bag and board somewhere in this apartment.
Well, I would like to thank Chad Anderson's Gay Mormon Dad comic that I picked up at FlameCon for ensuring that my Silver Sable made it home safe because I was able to put it mostly inside of there and correct that. And yes, Chad Anderson's book Gay Mormon Dad is available on Amazon and a bunch of other places. And we talked to him at his table before the panels were taking place, and I went ahead and picked that up as my one purchase at FlameCon, and I look forward to giving it a read at some point because it looked pretty cool.
You should have him on the show.
I very well might. But yeah, I think overall it was a pretty positive experience at FlameCon, and then afterwards we went to Bear Burger and scarfed out.
Yeah. So, let's talk about the floor a little bit here.
Sure, yeah.
It feels like you just like, yeah, we did some panels. There was nothing else. Nothing else happened. I will say, building on previous years, the aisles are bigger.
Yes.
We didn't get caught up in any like traffic as much. There were some points where you had to kind of squeeze through, but
Hmm.
I feel like it's a lot less bad. They're like they're still tweaking how wide the aisles are going to be.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but it's getting there. I think
Oh, yeah.
that's good.
Hmm.
In terms of who is exhibiting, it's pretty much the same year after year at this point. And there were a few repeats that I saw at the next week at Anime NYC.
Hmm.
There's a few people I saw weeks before at either Stationery Fest
Hmm.
or at the BIX, the Brooklyn Independent Comics Showcase.
Yep.
I don't think, did I get to talk about Stationery Fest on this show yet?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Okay.
You talked about it on the Bix episode,
Sorry,
essentially.
no, this year's Stationery
Oh, this
Fest.
year's Stationery Fest. No, you didn't. But if you want to go into that real quick, yeah, by all means.
Yeah, the real thing is they moved to Industry City, so they're now in the same location as Bix.
Oh, cool.
This prices are still the same.
Hmm.
The venue is bigger. However, like I waited half an hour just to get in, and then
Wait.
I had to wait another like 20 minutes just to go into the dealer's room.
Oh no.
And then I had to wait another 10 minutes just to go into the other dealer's room.
What the hell?
Yeah, because they separated the two rooms instead of putting the what do you call it, the point of access, the
Hmm.
fare control, whatever you want to call it, badge
Yeah.
control.
Wait.
Instead of putting it outside the rooms, they put it in front of each of individual room.
That's not smart.
Yeah, because that's opposite from how big. Well, Bix is free, so it doesn't really matter. But other shows I've been to, like there was a beer fest there. They just let it all be open.
I mean,
Um,
FlameCon. FlameCon had the one check, and then that was it. And then you had staff posted to make sure that that nobody got in, somehow accidentally. Like
yeah, like
it.
I'm not really gonna go too deep into Stationery Fest. I didn't buy anything. There's no workshops. Like there are workshops, but you have to pay separate for them, and it's
Mhm.
not cheap.
Yeah,
We're talking like $100 to go to a workshop.
yeah.
Because stationary fandom is a whole other thing that many of us will never understand.
No.
But yeah, I mostly want to contrast because like it's their second event and their first year at Industry City, and it just annoys me how conventions don't learn from other conventions.
Oh my God. Yes.
Fan conventions have been a thing for a century
Hmm.
at minimum,
Yeah.
and we every time someone starts up a convention, it feels like they're reinventing the wheel.
Hmm.
I think some fan conventions, there are people who go to conventions and be like, "Oh, this is cool," and they try to take some of that. But I don't feel like it's ever people who have done it for. I don't know how to explain. Like, it's somebody who went to they went to PAX once and said, "I can do this,"
Brilliant.
and that
Yeah.
there was a thing in DC where a guy literally did that. I can do this, and of course, no one came.
Oh my God. Yeah.
If you heard about that, like he told the convention center it was gonna be like 100,000 people, and I don't know if they had like 1,000 people.
Well,
Like I've seen photos of it.
I
Yeah, go on.
remember when somebody attempted to throw a convention, I think at the Baltimore Hilton, the one that's attached to the convention center. This might have been after a con was canceled due to COVID, if I remember correctly. And he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna have this great big thing with thousands of fans or whatever." And then nobody showed up, and he didn't have the money for it, and none of a bunch of creators got stranded, if I remember correctly, because
Yeah,
they didn't have
that's just
transport.
it. I think a lot of people don't like people will go to they'll only hang out like the exhibition hall and think all you need to do is get some vendors
Yeah.
and like put the sign up this is Comic Con and everything's gonna be great.
No.
But people do go for the guest. I don't go for the guest, but I do take the side like guest as a sign that the convention might be competent.
Yeah.
Like you look at what's the one in Texas? Is it Fanime?
I think so. Yeah.
The one that like they keep advertising guests that they haven't actually
Oh
spoken to and then they
yeah,
cancel.
yeah,
And there was like a thing, a brouhaha a few weeks ago because they were like, "Oh, Vic Mignola is going to be there," and of course immediately people are like, "I'm not going to be there."
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Is that I can't remember the name. The voice actor who plays Al was supposed to be there, and then they
Mhm.
started advertising it as a reunion, and they're like, "I did not agree to this. I'm gone. I'm out of here. Bye."
Wow.
Yeah. Because nobody
Yeah.
wants to be in the room with Vic.
It, it's one thing if well yes that's 100% true and neither would I but what if it's one thing to advertise somebody and they were never even invited. It's another thing to advertise somebody and then they cancel because that shit happens. But if you have not actually secured the guest, do not advertise them until contracts are signed and you know for a fact that they're going to be there. Otherwise, there's just
And they're
going to
gonna
be
get
disappointed
paid.
attendees. Yeah, and they're going to get paid exactly.
Because that's what happened with oh my God, why am I forgetting the name of it? The Tumblr thing.
Oh,
DashCon.
DashCon, yeah.
DashCon, part of the problem is they hadn't actually worked out the payment beforehand. So they
Yeah.
were supposed to have the Night Vale people, and the Night Vale people were like, we're here. Where's our
Yeah.
money?
hmm
So
they
yeah,
also wasn't sure who was going to get an extra hour in the ball pit and who wasn't going to. So
I mean, the fact that anybody thought the ball pit was a good idea, it was like, I'm like, that's the ball pit. Like,
uh-huh.
no. But yeah, like in general, I feel that with a lot of like, you get a lot of first time cons and
hmm
they don't quite understand that. So like, Stationary Fest is going to be fine. I think
Yes.
they're going to keep having it. It's going to keep getting bigger. It's just
Yeah.
fascinating to me to see them make very basic mistakes.
hmm
Not that other cons can't make mistakes. Not that say FlameCon or Anime NYC can't make mistakes because we
We're going to
saw
talk.
mistakes.
We're going to talk
Yeah.
about a mistake at Anime NYC in another minute or two here. But I think that moving to the marquee was the right move for the for FlameCon. I think that like you said, the aisles were wide enough. People exhibiting was diverse enough. I got to see Jeremy Whitley there and talk to him for a little bit. He was set up and looked like he was doing pretty well at the con. And yeah, I think overall this was a pretty successful FlameCon in layout and experience. Like this, I left there feeling happy.
It was the
That's
vibes were
the most
good.
important thing.
The
Yeah.
vibes were good. I don't think I've ever left FlameCon with the vibes are bad, but I've
hmm
definitely had the vibes are could be better.
Yeah.
I think moving location for starters, it did kind of improve the food options because
Yeah.
we were able to go to Restaurant Row.
Yep.
Even if we didn't go to Bear Burger, there were plenty of places to eat.
Yes.
And yeah, like I'm not going to say that I like I said, the other location was still near a lot of trains, but
hmm
Times Square does like help a lot of people
It
because they don't
does.
have to think about it, I think is what
Right.
it comes down to too.
Yeah.
And mind you, like the only problem I have with the Times Square thing is like, well, I have to go through Times Square to get to it.
No, I know. Yeah.
I hate that. We all hate that. Basically
Yeah.
you avoid it as much as possible. Having to cross Broadway in the 40s is always just sad making.
I agree.
But it was okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like it wasn't super packed that day.
No.
I got to the convention, the signage was good. Like I was able to get to the building, and
hmm
mind you, again, they were relying on people actually reading emails.
Yeah.
So I knew to go to the back entrance in Schubert Alley.
Yes.
I think, I don't know if there were anybody who tried to go in through the Times Square front, which you're not really supposed to do, even if you're a hotel guest.
No.
Because I think there is a door. I don't know if the door's even open anymore, but usually, yeah, you're
Yeah.
expected to go a little bit back.
I'm pretty sure they've closed that off. If I remember.
Yeah, because I remember there are doors directly on it. I mean, I could be wrong. You correct me if I'm wrong, because there's an alleyway that goes directly to the hotel. They were not using that. They said go behind the building entirely to Schubert Alley,
Yeah.
and yeah, it worked fine. So yeah, I think it's a good location. It does sound like they're doing it again next year.
Yes, they are.
So yeah, I'm genuinely happy for that. I do wish they could work on the hotel, not the conference room air conditioning thing.
Yes, I agree.
Like that is going to be like I find that to be a problem with a lot of venues that aren't really equipped for this.
hmm
Maybe I'll save this for a little later in the podcast. Let's put a pin in it. I want to talk about the suitability of venues to having
Sure.
fan conventions.
Oh, and I'll also add the cosplay at FlameCon is always great.
I think it's one of the best cosplay cons out there.
Yeah.
'Cause people do like Ian put up a picture of a rainbow like pride flag rainbow Power Ranger.
Yep. And the interview with the vampire guys that we passed were also on point.
Yeah, specifically we're talking about TV interview the vampire / vampire Lestat, soon to be Queen of the Damned.
Yes.
It's pretty ballsy of them to change the name of the show to go with the books.
I know. Yeah.
I know that confuses some people, but people are still watching it. It is just, yeah, it is a very queer show, based on a very queer book. I don't think they had a panel for it, but they are going to have a panel for this. You know what? This has nothing to do with these conventions specifically, but New York Comic Con released their schedule. They're going to have a 50th anniversary into the vampire event panel thing, whatever, and it's separately ticketed.
God damn it.
Not even for the show. I would understand if it was for the show, but it's for the book, and they're separately ticketing it.
So, okay, here's my thing. And we'll talk about this for 3 seconds and then we'll get into Anime NYC. But we're gonna have an episode on New York Comic Con before we even do New York Comic Con this year. As Kris made a great suggestion to do kind of like a con primer.
We've mentioned it on previous
stuff
episodes.
Like that. Yeah. But I'm getting sick and tired of the separate price entry New York Comic Con events. And yes, I get it because the Javits can only hold so much. But this thing is so expensive to begin with, and then you're charging $60, $70 on top of that to go to a separate offsite event.
It might not as just be a convention related thing. Just have a separate event.
Yeah, exactly.
For Anime NYC, there were separate events, not Anime NYC specifically at Japan Society. Like a bunch of the people we usually see that we know through anime cons that we usually see at anime cons, they weren't at Anime NYC, but they were at an event at Japan Society on Saturday for hold on, let me make sure I can pronounce this right. Akiko like Hishimura, I think. Higashimura.
Okay.
This is the one who does Princess Jellyfish and Tokyo Takaruba Girls.
Got it.
So she was doing a signing. She was doing a signing at Anime NYC, but then she did into Japan Society. So if you couldn't get into the convention, you could still go to this event.
Got it.
And I don't mind if New York Comic Con wants to do stuff like that. I think San Diego's been doing that kind of stuff for years. It's just to make it dependent on going to having the con ticket and then the separate ticketed event.
Yeah.
I feel like if I buy a New York Comic Con ticket, I should have access to all New York Comic Con events. If they want to do something else, put it at a different time of the year. Honestly, you could probably get better attendance.
Yeah. But now there's so many Madison Square Garden, like Theater Madison Square Garden events or Madison Square Garden events. Because I remember last year they had the big D&D event that was happening at the same time as New York Comic Con, and like associated with fine. Don't bill it as a New York Comic Con event or New York Comic Con panel that's happening offsite that you have to charge more for. So
I mean, I'm going to double check to make sure that these aren't, whether or not these are dependent. So we don't get a actually.
That's fine.
But it's just annoying because you're like, oh, that sounds cool. I think the reason I get mad about this Anne Rice panel is because Anne Rice is dead. So bitch ain't even gonna be there unless they're planning to roll out zombie Anne Rice. I think it'll be like her son.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not gonna pay $60 to see her son.
Well, we can actually transition this well into Anime NYC because these weren't any events that we were going to go to, but there were one or two events that were being held on site at Javits where the only way to attend the event was to buy a separate ticket in order to enter in. There were only like two of these the entire event, but the fact that it was happening at Javits and it was like, oh no, you can't enter unless you bought this extra add-on $40, $50 whatever it was it cost ticket. Again, these things are expensive to begin with, but clearly, I guess this was the only way that they were able to get these events to happen in the first place was if you charged on top of it, and that's how they made them happen. So. Again, I think there were only maybe two of them and they were in the main events hall, but
I looked up this Interview with the Vampire thing. It says celebrating 50 years of Interview with the Vampire separately ticketed. It's in North Room 408, which suggests to me that, you still have to have a con badged because you have to be in the building. If it was off site, then there's the possibility separately ticketed just means it's just a separate event. But
right.
Anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to make sure we were correct because we believe in giving all of you listeners the most accurate information that we can present, not just talk out of our asses.
Yep. So Anime NYC, Jacob Javits Center, this last weekend as we're recording this, it started on the Thursday and ran to the Sunday. So it was a 4-day anime con, and I've only been to a few of those in my lifetime, and they've all been Otakon. And
Otakon didn't start out that way. I don't even remember. No. Wait, when have we been to Otakon on a Thursday?
Otakon, if I remember correctly, started doing Thursday more recently, and I think we went to one of them. But I might be wrong here. But
they only did it. According to ye old Wikipedia, they only did it 4 days once.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then never mind. Then I take it back and I say that Anime NYC is a 4-day anime con, and I only went to 3 days. I was not going to go to all 4.
Expo's 4 days, but
Yeah,
yeah, Otakon I think is still 3 days. So with Anime NYC, yeah, it's 4 days. Does it need to be 4 days? Well, it's sold out for
yeah, exactly.
most of that, right?
Right.
So it's fine. It means people are coming, they're making money.
Plus, Thursday
Uh,
still kind of acts as a quote unquote preview day
it's the
anyway,
industry
because
day.
yeah,
They
exactly.
don't
Yeah.
start panels. The show opens at 1. They
Hmm.
don't start panels until 4. And a
Right.
lot of the panels are for like librarians. You can even
Hmm.
get the educator credit,
Yes.
which I didn't even know was a thing until I started seeing it listed like, oh yeah, get your, your credit, because they're required to get additional education to keep their jobs.
Yeah.
So going to events like that, going to panels about how to curate a manga library,
Mhm.
is part of is like almost like it's like a job requirement, something they have to do.
Right.
Um, so they had a bunch of those. There was a handful of fan things. Mostly Thursday has become the day that Netflix does its thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which we attended. Actually, you know what? Before I get to that, you were there earlier than me on Thursday, so I'd like to hear a little bit about your con experience, even just
I
walking
did
the
not
hall
want to be
earlier
there
on.
earlier. It was
Yeah.
just I have extra badges, so I was giving one to my niece or two
Hmm.
to my niece. Yeah, I ended up with that many extra badges because
Yeah.
life is crazy that way. And she wanted to meet earlier, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. If I don't know which days you're going, so I'll meet you there. And then she didn't, go. Eventually she did. So I was basically dragging like an 18-year-old around the hall and just showing her what's what. I think it's interesting to compare with New York Comic Con
Hmm.
because Thursday New York Comic Con always used to be really empty.
Yeah.
Like that was the best day to go if you don't want to deal with humans.
Right.
And now it's the worst day to go if you don't want to deal with humans.
Oh yeah.
It was
Hmm.
packed to the gills when it opened. And
Yeah.
I realized, and I think I said this on our show last year, it's people, resellers, people
Hmm.
looking for convention exclusive merch to resell. So
Yeah.
they show up when the show opens on Thursday and they comb through the hall and they grab everything they can, like Locust. Because
Yeah.
a lot of stuff was already sold out by the end of Thursday. I'm like, that never happens. Stuff usually sells out on Saturday.
Yeah.
But Thursday, like Friday, maybe, but Thursday stuff was selling out. That was New York Comic Con. Anime NYC, you might like there's a possibility of that happening, but it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
It
Well,
wasn't, yeah.
well,
People weren't selling exclusive merch first off.
and
Yeah.
on top of that, we've talked about over and over again how for the most part you'll find a younger crowd at an anime convention than you will a comic convention. That's changed a little bit over the years as comics have become more prevalent in the public eye and whatnot. But I think that because of that, it means that a lot of college kids are not in college right now and were able to come on a Thursday when, if this convention had been happening, say in September or October, that may not have been nearly as possible for them to be able to go on a weekday as they were now. I mean, yeah, sure, obviously people have jobs and stuff like that, but
Yeah, well, I was
yeah,
going to add that I mean, if you're not in New York, it might sound weird for us to say, oh, yeah, late August is like a lot of college kids are available. Because I'm sure in other places, you're like, yeah, but that's when people are
yeah,
going back to college.
right.
But you have to remember, we're a city of 8 million people. We have a college system, the
Yes,
City
we do.
College of New York.
Hmm.
And then we have a bunch of like little tiny colleges that are on like the second or third or 30th floors of various buildings
Hmm.
here in New York City.
Yeah,
So we do have a college population that's not like what you would consider a traditional college population.
yeah.
But they will start school probably next week or the week after, just
Hmm.
like all the high schoolers and below.
Yep.
So they are kind of free right now. Maybe they have jobs or not. Maybe they don't. I don't know. My niece is, doesn't have a job right now. She'll be going to Kingsborough in the fall.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's a CUNY.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, like I think it is still a better time because they can really leverage a younger audience that way.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, like it is interesting they decided to try doing like a Thursday and I mean it seems to be fine, but it wasn't crowded like it would be at NYCC. I have no
Yeah.
it wasn't empty either.
No, it wasn't.
Like I used to go, on a third I would go the first day and it would be dead when it first opened, and this was not dead. It wasn't chaos to get in either. That's also a possibility.
Hmm.
The reason we never go first thing in the morning is because we don't want to wait on the lines to get in. Like,
Right.
what's the
Exactly.
point?
Yeah.
I'd rather just stroll in, when I'm most comfortable, which is
Hmm.
what I did mostly with this con. I didn't really
Yeah.
have to wait on any lines to get into anything.
Right.
So it was,
Well, the one time that we did have to wait online to get into anything was that Netflix panel.
yeah, with the
Which,
standby line.
yeah, it was the one time we did stand by line, because the other times that we attempted to get into the main hall, we were told that standby was closed. We found out on Saturday when we went to go into the main hall that reservations had reopened for the panel that we had wanted to go to, so we were able to just make a reservation and walk in rather than be on standby. So those of you who are going to Anime NYC, that may be something to remember in the future, is that there's supposed to be a 20-minute window for reservations to go in or not. And I think they were releasing reservations for anybody who hadn't checked in, and we were able to get those and get into the Masquerade like we wanted to on Saturday. But that's getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I don't really know what was going on with that. It was like, it feels like glitchy because I've noticed that in the past, sometimes I'll go to that page and the
Yeah.
reservations will be open again.
Right.
And again, I don't know if it's because people who haven't checked in are getting kicked out. Because last year, I don't have this email anymore. I think I deleted it because it was dumb.
Yeah.
But they sent out an email saying like, "Hey, you guys, remember when you make a reservation for a panel, you have to be there 20 minutes beforehand. We
Yeah.
can't guarantee your seats within the 20-minute window because we have to open the standby line."
Yeah.
Like, it was basically like, "Hey, guys, we see what you're doing. No, 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 bad, bad." Like, it's perfectly fair. You might be like, "Well, I made a reservation. Why can't I show up when I want?" I said, because they need to make sure the room is full. So they have to know when they could let standby. And I think a 20-minute wait is perfectly reasonable compared to the alternative, which is to wait several hours just to get in this room,
Right.
to do a Hall H thing.
Yeah.
They don't want that. So that's why they do the reservation system.
Yeah.
The other panels we tried, the panel I walked up to it is I wanted to go see Kagorabachi, which is debuting next year. The manga's already out. You can read it on the Shonen Jump app.
Yeah.
And I'm really enjoying it. I really like it. It's about a guy, like a world where they don't really have guns. So all warfare, is still very sword based. And there's one sword maker who's like the best sword maker. And he makes these magical swords with these great powers.
Yeah.
And once the war is over and he's retired, he's attacked and murdered and his swords are stolen. And now his son must go on a quest of revenge. Like, it's very typical shonen, but I think it's really well written, well done. And it's odd, but not completely surprising at this point that they waited. It's been around for a few years and they only just announced the anime.
Yeah.
And they said they were going to show the first 20 minutes, which doesn't sound like a lot until you realize the episode's probably like 22 minutes long.
Probably, yeah.
And so you really just don't have the opening. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
But I was kind of like, I'm not giving myself a huge hassle to go see 20 minutes.
No.
And so I walk into the room and they're like, "Yeah, reservations only." And I'm like, "Okay, I guess we'll just go to the other thing that we're going to go to."
Yeah.
Though we now realize we probably could have gotten in, and I do feel a little FOMO because I didn't realize it wasn't debuting until like January or February.
It's fine in the end.
It's 20 minutes. Yeah, it's like 20 minutes. I can live without seeing one episode of an anime. But yeah, instead we went to GKIDS, which had basically no line. I mean, there was a line to walk in the room, but it was really just people lining up early.
Yeah.
There was still plenty of room in the room.
Yeah, most of these rooms did eventually wind up filling up because there's that many people at this thing, and also there's that many panels where I feel like there's no. Very rarely are you going to wind up walking into a panel or attempting to walk into a panel and not get in. However, these things will be pretty close to capacity.
It's basically like, don't show up late.
Yeah, exactly. That's that.
Because we went to the Crunchyroll screening just to kill time. And there were a lot of people, but the room was not even close to full when we were in there.
No.
They were making everybody do if there's a seat next to you, raise your hand. But I'm like, this room is barely full.
Yeah.
It did fill up, and that created problems because then we couldn't see the screen that well.
Okay. Yeah. Here's the gripe.
Here's Yid's rant.
Okay. So number one, if you are going to be holding screenings where you are going to be showing anime with subtitles, and the subtitles are usually baked in on the bottom, you need to raise those screens, because at the Javits, there's no slope to any of the floors. So, like, you know how in a movie theater, if you're farther back, you'll still be able to see because there's a little bit of a slope and the screen is higher? Well, there's no slope here, and the screens were only so high. So if you were less than maybe 3 rows deep, you had to do the move your eyes in between people's backs in order to actually read the subtitles that were on the screen. If you had raised the screens a little bit more, then that wouldn't have been an issue.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if that's in the control of the convention, but I
yeah.
will say that it's annoying to be at a panel and I think it was like Crunchyroll that put like the Anime NYC watermark at the top of the screen.
Yes.
If you can put a watermark at the top of the screen, you can also just add an extra set of subtitles.
Oh, no doubt about it.
It doesn't look good. Well, neither does having the watermark. And mind you, like they're telling people don't record, don't take your phones out. I saw them yell at least one guy who was like texting on his phone. It's not that they're banning the texting, is just like they don't want to see the phones because they think you're recording it, which you're not, because it's gonna look like shit. But yeah, like mind you, it works as more watermarking. It's not like anybody's gonna pirate it there. Because the thing is they have to be super paranoid, especially since like Americans are known for being litigious about piracy. The Japanese might not be litigious. They will sue if they have to and everything.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of the time, instead of just outright suing, they're just gonna be like pissy about it.
Yeah.
And not make deals. And mind you, like the when I go to anime conventions, they always make that clear to like they might not want to show anything anymore. That's the point that's made, not in the we're going to arrest you or you're going to get sued or we're going to get sued. It's more like they don't want to do this anymore if that's the way you're going to be. And I've seen people argue about that. Like our friend Zach Davison has pointed out that like Japanese creators, if they feel like we're not protecting their property enough, they don't want to work with us. So I think that's what it was. But yeah, I'm like, look, if you need to watermark it, like if you're watermarking it anyway, just put some freaking subtitles on the top of the screen.
Agreed.
Also, I mean, the thing is, like, I don't know if conventions would ever do this, but like you do need to maybe man up. I hate saying man up, just toughen up and be like, hey, you with the hat, you need to not sit there because people can see over you. There was a dude with a huge fro, and I'm like, I don't know how to handle that. Because that's just the dude's hair. That's his hair. And I'm like, yeah, but now I can't see the screen.
It's a problem. Raise the damn screens. That's it.
Yeah, I know
if you can, and I'm sure that there's a way to do it. I know Javits probably only has so much to work with, but figure out a solution one way or the other. The main stage, although there were a couple of instances, like 1 or 2, where a little bit was cut off, those screens are immaculate. They have upgraded the screens to 4K in the main hall, and it was beautiful. Even the side screens and the main screen.
Well, it was so like in the main hall, the special events hall, there's 3 screens. There's one that's at the back of the stage, and then there's the 2 on the sides. The 2 on the sides are the actual video screens.
Right.
But the one behind the stage, that was the one that I think it was like 4K. I don't know about the other 2, but that one was like, it was like everything's brighter.
Oh yeah.
And crisper. Like I was like, damn, that could even be 8K. I don't effing know what it is. It was just a nice looking screen. I was shocked at how the contrast. Like, yeah, Ian's putting up a photo of the cast photos from what's the name of this show?
Bass Ex Machina.
Yeah. Like I don't think the photo really does justice to what we're trying to talk about.
Yeah.
But so I mean, yeah, we could talk about this Netflix panel. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I did Netflix last year as well, mostly because I was like, I have nothing to do. Let's go see what Netflix is going to talk about today. Netflix is in a weird position because they use these panels not just to promote the anime they're licensing, but also to promote their in-house projects, which is what Bass X Reeves very much is.
Yeah.
It's a steampunk show about Bass Reeves. But Bass Reeves is not just Bass Reeves. He's like Bass Reeves, the steampunk cyborg.
Bounty hunter. Yep.
Bounty hunter. But no, look, you could be a cyborg and a bounty hunter.
I just wanted to add that on to the end of what you were saying. Continue.
Yeah, which is not really what he kind of was in real life. And I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I don't know. I just have like an issue with like making characters in the bounty hunters when they're not bounty hunters. Like people like it because it sounds cool.
Yeah.
Just a side note, I do remember being in a immersive show. Were you there for the Universe is a Small Hat thing, Ian?
I'm not entirely
sure. So I did like this immersive play, participated in this immersive play years and years ago. It was like 12 years ago now with a bunch of our friends. and we were all supposed to be colonists on this like colony ship that was heading to start, start new lives and everything.
Hmm.
And you were allowed to just make your character. And the thing gave you some rules. Like remember, we're going to be role playing being on the ship. We're not actually going to make it to the colony. It's about the
Yeah.
trip to the colony. All the NPCs are, the actors will play NPCs. They're all going to be, androids or whatever. And your character, like, just don't be a dick. And they said, don't do anything that's antisocial. And that includes like when you make your character. And one of the things it specifically said is don't be an antisocial character like a bounty hunter. And when I went into the room and I'm just talking to the other players, the other attendees, I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Like, oh, I'm a doctor. I think I can really help this colony. And then I talked to like the next person I talked to was like, oh, I'm a bounty hunter.
I was at this, yes, because I remember that. Yeah.
That is a dude. That is one of the, that today, that I guarantee you, that is one of the dudes who's like trolling people about AI art.
Oh, definitely.
Like one of the guys who like scraped that portfolio site and bragged about it on Reddit.
Mhm.
Like that is the most, like that guy was looking to push buttons and that pissed me off. And that's, so I always have a weird thing about like, well, Bastards was supposed to be, I thought it was like a marshal and everything, but so the show looks good.
It does.
Brian Tyree Henry.
Yep, Brian Tyree Henry, executive producer and star. Janelle Monáe will be a character, and she also is in charge of the music for the production.
Yeah, so she did the theme.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got Kris Summer.
They got Kris Summer. Yep. Let me bring up the cast photo again, just so we can get a basic look at it. Here we are.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting to see. I definitely think that a show like this, like anime flavored show being promoted by Netflix in its like as one of its anime products, definitely kind of speaks to the power of the Black community in like anime right now. That we're making stuff for that audience. It's just me and Ian right now, but we do have our Black coterie here on Comic Timing.
Yep.
So, but I also realized I was like, yeah, this probably isn't a show for me. Like Ian liked it a lot more. The clip they showed us, it was a nice long clip. They didn't really cheat us. They gave us a good chunk of footage. And it was not my type of thing, but I could see people really digging it. I could see the cosplay already. That's going to be obvious.
No question. Yeah. And like it weirdly filled like the Bebop hole in my life, because again, bounty hunter. So that's clearly where my brain goes when
I think that's the main inspiration is like everyone loves Cowboy Bebop, and Cowboy Bebop has bounty hunters.
Yeah. It's like Afro Samurai meets Cowboy Bebop is kind of what you're getting here in the art design and the personality a little bit. But I dug it overall. I think this is going to be a hit for Netflix when it does wind up coming out. So this is kind of like the one that they had put the least information out for before this actual panel.
Yeah, they hadn't really announced it. It was very funny because I don't remember why, but I think I was Googling something related to Anime NYC and looking at the coverage, and I think it was Geeks of Color had to be like, oh, they announced this show and it got one line, and I was like, you mean Deus Ex Machina? Like they talked about it a lot at the panel, but it was because of the press release they put out. They didn't actually put that much info about it.
Oh, what the hell?
I don't think there was any kind of I don't think they were trying to be racist with it. I mean, a lot of white people rarely do. I don't think it was even negligence. I guarantee it was one, they were keeping as much under wraps as possible before the panel.
Right.
I also think there's a chance that the press release they probably would have had to send to the production company to get to have it signed off on. And maybe that didn't go through on time, possibly because they were getting ready for the panel instead. There's a gazillion reasons for it. I was just surprised to see that as a complaint, because I was like, damn, they made a big show of it at the show. I think that's more important, honestly.
Yeah. And yeah, it was half the panel. Like,
yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, they did a really good job of promoting it, and they showed us clips, they showed us the intro. Brian Tyree Henry showed us the character designs and everything like that, and they talked it up a great deal, and it was the front and center first thing that they talked about. So yes, it's exactly what you said. They weren't revealing anything until the actual panel, and now they can talk about it as much as they want. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at different sites to see what they were talking about with Anime NYC, and that kind of stuck out at me. It was just weird.
The other thing is, I mean, when it reveal wise, it was kind of the only real reveal because everything else. I mean, they played one clip that you said that they played last.
Yeah, let's talk. Well, first off, they also the other stuff they showed up. They talked about was it Cyberpunk Edge Runners?
Yes, Cyberpunk
Kind of
Edge
already
Runners 2.
knew about.
Yeah.
Briefly mentioned Sakamoto Days.
Mhm.
The Sakamoto, like it's really just mentioned because it is a big show for them, but they don't have anything really to talk about with it.
No, not really.
Because even last year they were like, the Assassin's School arc is starting, which is one of my the inspirations when I've been talking about the fact that they seem to be marketing anime to manga fans. The fact that enough people are reading manga that they can now market like as I said, Chainsaw Man, the Reze arc. What does that mean to anybody who hasn't read the comic? That means nothing unless you're like, oh yeah, I read the comic. The Reze arc was really good. I got to see this movie. Because they did that with Sakamoto Days, where they were like the Assassin's School arc, and they did it again with the now we're continuing the Assassin's School arc, and I'm like, again, if you haven't read the comic, you don't know what that means.
Well, speaking of manga and new shows, The One Piece.
Yeah, so that was one of the other things that they gave a lot of airtime to was because they brought out Jacob, what's his last name from the guy who plays Usopp.
Yes,
'Cause
I'll get his name.
which was the proper person to get for this because they talked about a little bit about the One Piece, mostly just showed like the key art that we already have all seen.
Jacob Gibson.
Yeah. And then they talked about Lego One Piece, which I knew was a thing. I didn't understand the premise of it, so I think it was smart of them to talk about it. Because the premise of it, which is actually really smart, is that it's a retelling of the live action One Piece seasons 1 and 2 through Usopp's POV,
Yeah.
which is why it can be goofy and exaggerated, and some stuff is not going to be accurate because it's Usopp,
Right. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite jokes on the thing is the fact that everyone openly admits Usopp is a liar and that they just let him do it anyway. It's actually really I kind of love it. It's one of the things I love about the characters. They're like, this is his flaw and everyone's cool with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they built a whole show around that. I think that's actually kind of brilliant. It is interesting to see how much Netflix is getting One Piece stuff.
Yeah.
Because so they have the live action show and they are showing the original anime that is not done. They're behind by hundreds of episodes, like 300 episodes. They only have the end of Whole Cake Island. And then they did get the One Piece Heroines, which was like a one-shot anime. I saw it pop up on Netflix like a month or two ago. I didn't even know about it. It was kind of interesting.
Didn't they also have the big crossover one with Goku and a bunch of others?
Well, usually those are part of the show. They're technically an episode.
Oh, okay.
And those used to not come over. Like you could buy a DVD or you could watch it on Toonami and they would skip over those episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're doing that a lot less because with the internet, everyone knows that something got skipped, even though it's not important to the storyline. It's just some bonus episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand if there are different licensing rights, but if it's all under the same umbrella, there's no reason to just put it on there. And, if people are confused, whatever, nobody cares. And of course, the big marquee thing, like I said, it's the One Piece, which is the new anime version. We have mixed feelings in that. They didn't really talk about it at this, probably because, again, it's confusing and kind of mean. Like after they announced it, I know that on Twitter/X, one of the animators for the current One Piece show was like, "This is so demoralizing."
Yeah, yeah. No, you're absolutely right because it's like, hey, we're still putting it out. We're not done. Why are you doing this? Why are you rebooting it while we're still on?
Yeah. I mean, people will still watch it, but I was like, wow, that's harsh. Just
this it would have been the equivalent. It would have been the equivalent of a reboot of Full House coming out while Full House was still on the air. Like we're gonna start from scratch. Like the kids are gonna be kids again, and it's gonna be the original premise while season 7 of Full House is airing. Like,
I mean, I would say it's akin to the fact that if they had continued with the Abrams verse Star Trek movies, and then put out that Kirk prequel show that they keep talking about, because that's where things would start to get really weird and uncomfortable.
Yep, agreed.
Or if Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood had started coming out before they finished the 2004 show, at least they had the decency to wait until they finished the original show. It's just but they mostly they had Jacob come out, talk about the show a bit. It was cute and everything, and Like
Yeah.
I might watch it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's not something I'm really looking forward to, but I think it was smart of them to hype it up a bit so that people knew what the premise was, because the premise does make me a little more interested in it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like the Lego shows are always kind of cute. Like I've played the Lego Star Wars games, and I like seeing how they've retold the stories. But that's a little different because you're playing it as opposed to watching it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's a whole
the other thing, yeah, the one big thing they talked about, we already mentioned, was yeah, Blue-Eyed Samurai. The big announcement was that they gave us, the release date, and then they mentioned, yeah, season 3.
Mm-hmm.
And season 3 will be the last season. So
Yeah.
seasons 1 through 3 is a complete story. And that means Netflix has committed to it. They're not going to cancel it before it's finished.
No,
So
they are not.
that's a good sign.
Yeah.
It feels nice that they promoted it. They talked about it, but the thing is, we learned nothing new.
No, we didn't.
We already knew that it was going to be about Mizu in London.
Mm-hmm.
And when they showed a long clip, it was the same clip from last year.
That's so crazy to me.
Yeah, it took me a second to be like, this can't be, this looks really familiar. Oh, maybe I've just misremembered. No, this is definitely the same clip. I just saw a dude take an arrow to the face. This is definitely the same clip.
Yeah.
That just kind of annoyed me because it meant, yeah, they really had nothing new. Last year, at least, they had the creators come out and talk about the show. So we learned some new stuff about it, and that was really nice. But it's like, I don't know if they're just trying to keep it under wraps. If something's going to happen on the show, they don't want to reveal too early.
They're deep in production, and I guess they didn't have any new, information that they could really share. So
I think the most damning thing that happened was they were going to do prizes, and they said, "Oh, we got a prize. We'll give it to someone in a one Blue-Eyed Samurai cosplay. Anybody? Anybody?
Nope.
Anyone?
Nope.
Anyone?"
Nope.
Like, that's how bad it's been. It's been too long.
Yeah.
And the show, even though it was well received, did not get, I guess, the fandom traction they were hoping for.
Yeah. And I mean, I hope it, picks back up now that we have guarantees of when seasons 2 and 3 are happening. It's just, it's been a while. So
yeah, it's just so awkward and just so cringy. But, we know that's a big problem with TV in general, is like too many, the gaps between seasons are too big.
Mm-hmm.
And it's especially galling when it's only like a 10-episode season. Or, in the case of X-Men 97, 9-episode season.
Oh,
I hate that that's not round.
I know. I agree with you. It should have had a 10th, and it needed a 10th, but we'll talk about that on another episode. Yeah. You mentioned awkward and cringy, so to transition to a minute to the floor of Anime NYC and the layout of Anime NYC, I have to point out my biggest gripe. And I mean, again, your mileage may vary on whether or not you think this is a big deal or not. But so this year, at least for the first time that I noticed, Anime NYC had a dedicated 18+ area of the floor. And this is partially because of the release of Tenga. Look it up, but only if you're 18+. They were advertising it with Pantheon stockings.
So that's like a big deal. Let me get that out of the way. So Tenga, which is a self-pleasure aid. Let's be honest. You can be 17. I can say self-pleasure. You're not an idiot.
That's fair.
But they are doing, I think it is its first licensing deal.
Mm-hmm.
With a product, panty and sake with garter belt, which is not really a sexy product, but it is a raunchy product.
Yes.
But they're doing, licensed product with, these two things. And they announced it at Anime Expo, and they had a huge booth. Mm-hmm. And that was basically how you knew you were in the 18+ sections. You saw this booth. But everything around them was companies like Faku. That was the only reason we had wandered back there, is that we were trying to find Denpa. Our friend Ed runs Denpa, and Denpa is actually under Faku a lot of the time. Like, you'll look at it on the thing because it's the same company, but Faku's all of the porn stuff. Yeah. And Denpa's all the artsy, fancy stuff.
And just Denpa wasn't there this year.
Yeah, it was just Faku. Like, I saw people walking around with the bags with Faku on them, and that's some brave shit to just be like, yeah, here's all my porn, all my whacking material is in this little bag.
Well, and okay, so they put it all the way to the far left near the back of the hall. Okay, that's fine. That's great. The Artist Alley ran the entire back of the hall this year, similar to last year when we talked about it. They did the same thing this year. So you had non-porn artist alley directly next to the 18 plus area. So you didn't separate
behind, I say.
Yeah, behind. I'm sorry.
Think of it. Think of it as like a railroad apartment. As you're walking through the dealer's room, the exhibition hall, and it's like normal booth, normal booth, normal booth, porn.
Yeah.
Artist alley.
They could have easily separated this off in a better way and not had that jarring transition, which could have been good or could have been bad for them.
The 18 plus should have been in the far back corner. It's not really, it's not like they really need the foot traffic. People who need their spank bank material are going to get there. Like you don't want people randomly walking through it, because like I was walking through it with my niece. She's 18, but I don't think my brother is going to be very happy that we're like, oh, porn section. I was like, please do not get me in trouble. You know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, my brother will not listen to this, but I'm like, I'm not trying to corrupt your kid. It's just I was so uncomfortable. I was like, really, guys?
Yeah. No, it's that.
I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't like the way they did that. I don't like the way they put the artist alley in the back like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I mean, mind you, the way I try to do every aisle, and that throws it off, because then you have to stop, and then you make a decision, because the aisles don't line up.
Yeah.
So you can either try to keep walking, or you could ignore it and come back later. But it just throws off the way I kind of browse the floor. And again, now it leads to situations like this, where you have the artist tucked behind booths that might be thematically inappropriate. It might not even be porn. It could just be, maybe this is a bunch of dragon artists, and then behind that it's a bunch of cutesy anime girls. Like, it creates that dissonance, and I don't think that's good for business. It would be interesting to me to find out if the people in that area, those artists, had lower sales compared to the ones in the main, and they had, because there are so many better ways to arrange that whole dealer's room.
What I think they should do. And I mean, this is me, Mr. I don't run a con, but this is what I think should happen, is take the concept of the Sakura stage. I appreciate it for what it is. Move it upstairs to where your cosplay area currently is, and then put the artist alley in E, and just have it be an entire hall dedicated to the artists. And I'm sure that there probably would be some artists that would say, "Oh no, you're putting us in the basement." It's like, no, we're giving you more of a space to breathe.
Some people were complaining they want to be back downstairs. I did see that on like Threads, and I don't even have Threads. It's just when you look at Instagram, it's like, here's a Threads post you might be interested in. And I'm like,
yeah, well, and one of the reasons why they had to move them in the first place is because they expanded the gaming area, which we could also talk about.
The gaming area was nice. I will say, so like the Sakura stage I never went to. I didn't really see anything there I was interested in. It was a dead area of the con, and I know that because it was the only bathroom without a line.
Yes.
I know I feel like a broken record. I've said this on Blue Sky. I've said this in previous years. I say this after every New York Comic Con, is that the bathroom situation in the Javits is horrible.
Yes, I agree.
The only bathroom I tried during New York Comic Con, this is a little preview of our preview episode, is you just pee when you're in Javits North. Mm-hmm. Just don't. Like, if you have to hold it, walk to Javits North.
Yes.
But Javits North was not open during Anime NYC. So there was always a line outside of every ladies' room. And usually it's not even just about the weight. It's just that that it means the volume is so heavy that the bathroom's probably disgusting. Yeah, might be out of toilet paper. Yeah. The bathrooms that are in the corridor on level 1 only have 3 stalls.
Yeah.
I think they have 6 on the inside the actual hall. Terrible. But it's still too few. Yeah. And I knew there was a problem when I walked by and every men's room had a long line outside of it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I've seen lines outside men's rooms in my life, but it is a rare occurrence. And the entire 4 days, there was a line outside the men's rooms, every men's room.
Yeah. And the downstairs exhibit halls, the main problem with those, I'll just put an image up of the gaming area real quick, since I'm talking about that general area.
Is this the one you want with the lemony fresh?
Well, yeah, with the lemony fresh, of course. Tiny lemon, filthy spaces. But the problem with these areas is that there's no bathrooms in the back. There should be bathrooms in the front and bathrooms in the back for all the downstairs areas, and there are no bathrooms in the back. So you're stuck walking all the way to the front and going to the ones that are inside the hall, which are also technically the corridor ones because they're usually connected.
There's a door in the middle to separate them. which is really inefficient, honestly. I would probably
Yeah.
put up a sign. I would just open that door and close, one of the entrances.
Yeah.
But again, the bigger issue is you're right. There should be bathrooms in the back of the building.
Yeah.
There are on the upper level, but they
But
close
not.
those. During New York Comic Con, they close those bathrooms.
Yeah. Even though
The ones-
there have been multiple times that I've gone behind a curtain and used them anyway because they're
Yeah,
still
well, that's what they're. I think they're there for like exhibitors and artists and
I know.
everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the bathroom situation continues to be, I think, one of the weakest points at the Javits Center. You know what? I think this is an appropriate point for me to talk about what I was thinking about is that
Mhm.
how, fan conventions, like I said, they've been around for a century or whatever, but they've mostly been hotels, and we treat them like we treat other conferences because they
Yeah.
were never that big. But this explosion in fan conventions that they've grown to these heights where we're getting, six figures
Mhm.
attendees, and convention hotels obviously are out already.
Mhm.
Like it's so interesting to me that when I was younger, every convention was in a hotel, and now I can't. I think FlameCon is the only one I go to that's really in a hotel anymore.
Yeah.
Uh, but but even convention centers, which are supposed to be bigger, they're supposed to be made for larger crowds. They are not made for these numbers.
Mhm.
They are not configured in any way that serves a fan convention very well.
Yeah.
San Diego is probably one of the few exceptions. And even then, that's still kind of wonky because you notice a lot of convention centers tend to be built like they'll go over the street. So there's like a gap in it, and
Mhm.
there might be an area that's cordoned off. And a lot of that is because they're not really intended to have one convention in them.
Yeah.
They are expecting to have, we're going to have an automobile show on this end. And then in the middle, it might be a doctor's conference. And then on the far end, it's like leather workers.
Yeah.
San Diego is an exception because I think they might have built it for the convention,
Mhm.
and it can be converted, for one convention, or it can be cut into pieces. And
Sure.
it's just
Yeah.
one straight shoot all the way down, even with the upstairs having its little kind of quirky things, but at least the downstairs is one continuous piece. But Javits is not built for this.
No.
I do find like LA has like multiple halls.
Yeah.
I've never been to any of the convention center in Vegas. You can't ask me. I know Seattle's way too small for things
Mhm.
like PAX.
Yeah.
Boston, I thought Boston is actually pretty good, but I always found it a little confusing. And there's a reason why PAX has to do like it's like lettered corners thing.
Yeah.
Like every floor has a mythological creature, and every corner of the building has a letter. Because
Yes.
otherwise people get confused.
Yeah.
Like I just find that interesting, and I'm wondering how many convention centers were really built for these crowds. Again,
really-
it's not Javits.
They really weren't. They really weren't. That's what it comes down to. And I mean, it's very apparent when you're at these things that these were meant to be, one convention here, one convention there, one convention there, and not, a giant thing for one full convention to try to deal with the 7 bathrooms. Like that's
Yeah,
just
I would
the way it
say
goes.
even when it's like one convention here, one convention there, because I think of like when we went to PAX Unplugged, and there was like a teachers conference, and that had to create like the multiple points of entry.
Yeah, I
The
remember.
control points.
Mhm.
And I think that was never I think that's the other thing, is that it's not just the crowds that conventions bring,
Mhm.
it's that they have to have a tighter access
Oh yeah.
because of the money involved and the interest involved. Like if
Yeah.
I have again a leather workers convention next to like a bathroom fixtures convention, it's not, no one's really going to be trying to sneak into one or the other.
No.
But it is feasible. That I remember going to C2E2, and we had that it was like a bathroom fixtures convention,
Yeah.
and the bathroom people kept walking into C2E2.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I forget what convention was the same weekend as Anime NYC in one of its early years, but like it was a somewhat compatible. It might have been like a licensing con or something like that. Like what? Because I
Yeah,
remember.
I mean, I do remember the early days when it was sharing the building, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't, because it's interesting to me when I go to a conference. It's not, not New York Comic Con or Anime NYC, like not Toy Fair, when it's like smaller, and to see how manageable and how the
Yeah.
facilities were built for that. Because
Yeah.
we've commented on about how that the front courtyard is always closed off for the conventions we go to,
Yeah.
and it's supposed to, the thing is, you're supposed to be able to use the front courtyard to grab a taxi.
Yeah.
But the taxis aren't allowed in there.
No, they're
And
not.
the thing is, I've been to shows. There's a climate week festival that'll be in Javits next month, and they will open that front courtyard, which was very interesting to me. And they will allow you on the roof, so you can go look at at the farm.
Yeah.
So, it is interesting. It was built for this, but it's being used for this other thing. And it does make the argument that maybe New York really does need another convention center.
I mean, yeah, we've talked about it, and it's a bit that I know that they've talked about possibly building one in Queens or something like that. But it's just been talked about, and it hasn't actually been like confirmed ever. But let's talk a little bit. We only have a little bit more time left, so like let's talk about the GKIDS panel. The big reveal of that was the return of Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust to theaters, which is going to be coming soon.
Well, that was a confusing point because the slide just said Vampire Hunter D, so a lot of people were asking. But it is Bloodlust, the 2000 movie, not the earlier film.
Here's the confusing slide for anybody watching the video.
Yeah, GKIDS is roughly growing. I think I forgot that they're basically like owned or co-owned by like Toho.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they're able to get Godzilla minus zero is going to be their release.
Yep.
So, which is pretty cool. Like, yeah, Vampire, okay. I don't know. I liked it. I don't remember much about it. I just think it's interesting that GKIDS was once called the A24 of animation.
Mm.
And now they're kind of moving away. Vampire Hunter D is still animation, but they're moving more towards larger projects, a lot more live action stuff. They released last year. Oh my God. No, it was earlier this year. They released Kohuko, which is now the top grossing Japanese live action film.
Mm.
And it's weird because it didn't get nominated for an Oscar. It's barely been recognized and it's not on Blu-ray DVD yet. I thought that was weird. But yeah, like GKIDS is still going to go in on physical media. Yeah, Ian put up this picture of a bunch of Blu-rays, and then there's like a little graphic over it that says "I love physical media," like a little sticker. It's very cute. It looks like a CD. But yeah, like I do find myself going over the list and seeing like I've seen that movie, I've seen that movie, I've seen that movie, and I'm excited about the stuff they're releasing. Like I said, Godzilla by Zero is probably my biggest hype one. They do have the rights to the Studio Ghibli films, so that's not surprising. Every year they do release them in theaters.
Yeah,
they are releasing Hideki Anno's movie Love Pop. That was the one that got me excited because I do want to see that movie. It's not even like I want to own it; I just want to see it.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good panel, honestly. We got really actual announcements. Like I said, they don't get a lot of industry announcements at Anime NYC, so it was nice to see an actual announcement. Unlike I went to the Aniplex panel and it was just like, oh, this is streaming on Crunchyroll now. Oh, this is streaming on Crunchyroll now. Everything had come out in July.
Yeah.
But they were still hyping it. So it was like it felt like a really pointless panel, the Aniplex. But GKIDS was genuinely like, I'm glad I was here.
I was glad I went to it as well. Speaking of which, the Crunchyroll panel, once upon a time, Anime NYC used to be quote unquote presented by Crunchyroll. They've long since removed that from their logo because that is no longer the case. And Crunchyroll, the Crunchyroll Presents that we went to, I hated all three shows that we saw.
We didn't even watch, there were three shows. We didn't even finish the last one because we had struggled to see the screen because of the subtitles being at the bottom.
Yeah.
Dude with a huge ass fro, like 2 or 3 rows in front of us. But they weren't even good. Like the shows we watched was Vermilion Mask. Yeah. I hated the animation style. The story could have been interesting, but I feel like they put too much lore in the first episode.
Too busy of a premise. Yeah.
Yeah, too much like, oh yeah, this guy builds masks that actually let you transform. I'm like, well, that's cool. Yeah, like magic masks. Okay. Oh, and his father, his mentor was this famous mask maker. And I'm like, okay. Oh, we've just run into the guy that killed his mentor. I'm like, okay, you did not need to do that yet. Why are we packing all of this? Oh, and the wayfish girl that's been annoying him all episode is the princess. I'm like, okay, fuck this shit. It was very, when people talk about all the things they hate about anime, it was like 9 out of 10 of those. The only one thing it was missing was like gratuitous panty shots. The other one wasn't even really an anime. It was animated. So if you are of the mind that anime just means animation because you're Japanese or whatever, yes, it's anime, but it's actually based on it was Webtoon, wasn't it? So they have a partnership with Webtoon to make shows out of a bunch of popular Webtoon things.
Well, and also a bunch of them were 2 out of the 3 were based on manhwa. I want to point out they weren't even based on manhwa.
Yeah, so like that seems to be the angle they're going through. If you want me to really, analyze that, Crunchyroll has grown to where it is because it was like the place to get anime for years and years. Like as other companies kind of went out of business, Crunchyroll was just kind of swallowing everything up. Now it's owned by Sony, and Sony is kind of making it worse.
Hmm.
But I think what's also happening is that with companies like Netflix and Amazon also releasing anime,
Hmm.
like Crunchyroll doesn't have the power it used to. Like there was a good
No.
block where it basically had a monopoly, especially in the streaming space.
Yeah.
And now that companies can just take their products to Amazon or Netflix or High Dive, that yeah, like Crunchyroll has to go make original things. What other company have we seen take that exact path? Tokyo Pop.
Yeah.
Tokyo Pop made its wealth in licensing manga that hadn't been licensed, doing it as cheaply as possible, which is basically how Crunchyroll started. Remember, Crunchyroll used to be a fan sub site. They
Oh
used to
yeah.
do fan sub, fan translated manga and everything on that site, and then eventually they transitioned over to legal stuff, which
Mhm.
good, that's nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the same path Tokyo Pop did is that once the money started showing up, the publishers were like, "Why are we licensing to this company when we can do it
Yeah.
ourselves?" So
Yep.
now Kodansha and is actually here publishing
Right.
stuff. Viz is publishing its own stuff now. So Tokyo Pop started trying to make original English language manga, which never really took off the way they hoped it would. I
No.
don't know how that's going to work. I don't think it's working for Crunchyroll. Netflix is the only one that seems to be making stuff that people actually want to watch.
Crunchyroll, and also when it comes down to it, their app still sucks. Like the Roku app for Crunchyroll is one of the jankiest pieces of shit that I have tried to use in a very, very long time. I'm not a subscriber anymore. I was for a little while because they had a deal. And I went back to it. I'm like, oh my God, this is the same app that I was using 10 years ago. Like they haven't changed anything. They haven't improved anything. The
They
UI
might
is
have made it worse
bad.
because I think they changed some of the fonts and stuff because they've
Yeah.
been experimenting with AI translation, which I know
Oh, it ain't
everybody's pissed
great.
about.
No.
The biggest controversy for Crunchyroll this week, though, is that they've ruined the Crunchyroll store, which used to be Right Stuff anime.
Yeah.
And Right Stuff, like I said, like men talk about it like they talk about their dead wives. Like their dead wife, Right Stuff Entertainment. Like that's the place they used to go to buy, and now Crunchyroll is like, oh yeah, you can buy stuff from us, but you have to be subscribed to Crunchyroll, and it has to be the premium tier. And it's like, give us money to give us money. And so
That's
people are pretty pissed
no.
about that. And
That's
most people are saying
terrible.
just go shop at Media OCD. They had a booth. The booth really wasn't doing anything. They weren't showing
No.
off any properties. They had some swag, but it was like shit swag, and the booth was always empty. I
Hmm.
guarantee you they were supposed to be selling stuff. And then because of this change with the store, it fell through. Again, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't work there.
It's very
It was,
possible.
yeah, it was a complete
But
shit show.
in previous years, the only thing that you could get from there was if you were a subscriber, and if you weren't a subscriber, then you weren't able to get anything. Like that's
And now nobody wants anything. So
exact. Yeah. And the other thing that we got to see on the floor, well, not see it on the floor, but the panel that we went to, the last thing that we did was the Masquerade, and I'd kind of forgotten that I'd never really been to a Masquerade at Anime NYC, and that I'd only really been to New York Comic Cons.
I don't go to masquerades anymore
Yeah.
because I kind of outgrew them. I think they're fun for a little while,
Mhm.
but when you're younger, they're fun. When you're older, it's just cringe.
This was actually pretty good. I think the way they broke it down was cool. How they had the beginner, the intermediate, and the
Those kids, beginner, intermediate, and
yeah,
then the
and an
advanced.
expert in
And it
the
was based on how many competitions you won. If you've won only one competition,
Mhm.
then you're still a beginner. But
Right.
then after that, it goes on to intermediate. And then, so the
Mhm.
costumes were all really good. Even in the beginner one, everything was like top shelf, well
Yeah.
done. Even
Hmm.
the kids' costumes were crazy good. And like, so the level of competition is so much higher than I remember from when I was younger and went to
Oh my God.
conventions.
Yeah.
So like it's a more serious business. However, they're not Anime NYC is not hooked into like that big cosplay thing like NYCC is.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's their prize is badges to next year's Anime NYC essentially, plus a prize package from everybody who sponsored it, including FlameCon. I want to point out FlameCon was a sponsor of the Masquerade, and that was pretty cool to see camaraderie in between conventions like that. So
Yeah, we saw a lot of crossover. It's like they're wise enough to understand they're not really competing for the same audience.
yeah.
So,
Oh,
but yeah,
and also the Masquerade had people that were just in costume, and then a separate section for people who did skits.
Oh, a lot of cons have been doing that. That's not really new. It is
Yeah.
nice that they make that distinction, that they put the people who are just there to show up their craftsmanship, because there are two categories you're competing in, and they do separate the two. They don't expect you to do both. One is craftsmanship, where they actually look at the costume, they look at the stitching, the materials used, the accuracy to the source material, and then the performance thing is like when you're playing to the audience, like, how well, did you write a script? Are you acting on the stage? Are you doing a dance? Did you bring props? A lot of it was, like I said, it was very upscale. The production values were very high because some of them involved AV elements. So they used the giant ass screen behind them. They pointed at stuff on the screen, or they had like scenery behind them.
The Animal Crossing one. Oh my God.
The Animal Crossing definitely leaned on the video aspect. It was very cute. It did not win. It still got an award. It was like either runner up or something.
It deserved everything. It deserved to win.
Yeah. It was a Pitbull joke with KK Slider. So of course, like they mind you, they give out a lot of awards. So I feel like most people do go home with something, which is nice. I'm not saying participation trophies, but I didn't feel like there was anyone up there who was shit.
Oh yeah,
there's always going to be shit, and there was no shit.
I like that. I appreciate that. It reminded me in some ways of the Masquerade that we used to go to in San Diego Comic-Con, where like it felt like everything was polished and executed, and that there were actual standards, which is
I think my only thing is like one of the costumes that won a prize, to be honest. I'm assuming it won mostly on craftsmanship, because when I saw it, I wasn't impressed. And that's because I suspect the cosplayer wore the costume at the show. And so it had, I don't want to call it battle damage, but it was clear. It was like very wrinkly. It had been worn all day. And I was like, that doesn't look good. So the judges are definitely seeing something that I can't see from the floor. But yeah, I stopped doing masquerades because, again, they're very cringy, and I didn't think it was cringy. And they also had like a halftime show with like a dance group that also was doing cosplay.
Oh, that was great.
And they were hitting on all the like major points, like like shonen, a lot of shonen stuff. The fandom is so heavily on shonen, just like American comics are heavy on superhero comics. So
yeah. And that was maybe the one detriment, which I knew going into it would be the case, is that there are certain properties that you're going to see over and over and over again, and it was all Hatsune Miku. It was Witch Hat
Atelier.
Witch Hat Atelier, and it was one other one that we saw multiple of in the Masquerade, but that I can't think of at the
Monster
moment.
Hunter. There was some Pokemon.
Yeah, but
there was some Homestuck even in there a little bit.
Yeah,
I feel like
I'm saying ones that we saw multiples of in the actual Masquerade.
But yeah, Witch Hat was like the one that stuck out at me the most.
Yeah. But that's going to happen whenever anything's popular, is that there's going to be tons of.
Well, that was my feeling walking around Anime NYC. It was just like I was looking at all the Artist Alley stuff and trying to figure out what is the it property right now. And I didn't walk away with a clear answer. I mean, after the Masquerade, I was like, it's probably Witch Hat. It's probably one of the big ones. Yeah. I mean, obviously, One Piece is always going to be big. There
was one other one that we saw a couple of different costumes of in the actual Masquerade itself. Did it start with a G? I'm trying to remember.
Gachiakuta.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah.
That's the one about the garbage town. I had to explain to Ian in a hurry what it was, is that, there's two worlds. There's like the rich people land up here, and then the trash heap at the bottom.
Yep.
And it takes place in the trash heap. And all the trash gets thrown down from the rich people thing.
Yep.
And if you care for an item enough, it like develops magical powers. So that's what the magic is based on in the series. And mind you, the trash can also go the opposite direction. It basically becomes feral and turns into monsters. So it's an interesting premise. I'm not going to say I love it. I did start reading it. I thought it was interesting. I haven't watched the anime, but it's nice to see that it's got a fandom because it's different.
Oh yeah.
I get so tired of how we're still going back to like the battle anime. That it's nice that Gachiakuta is different, and just like I think Kogurabachi is also different, and I'm hoping that's going to do well. No Akane Banashi, despite me telling everybody it's the greatest thing on earth.
You'll get there.
We're almost out of time. I thought you didn't even ask me about my panel.
I was literally saving that for last, and yes, I do want to talk about that. Your experience as a panelist at Anime NYC, and welcoming yourself back to the world of being a panelist.
So that's it. It's the first panel I've done since 2019. I don't think we've done a panel post-COVID.
Yeah, nothing since COVID.
Yeah, since Anime Next is dead. So I've been kicking around some ideas for panels for years. So I finally bit the bullet and decided to submit for anime tourism without leaving New York. I got the idea for it while I was watching Banana Fish, because Banana Fish is set in New York and they were matching places exactly. I was like, oh my God, that's 9th Street. Oh my God, look, it's No Wati Parlor. So I wanted to make a whole panel out of that. So I did submit. Ian submitted our American comics for manga fans and was rejected. I was put on the wait list. But towards the end of the July, I got oh yeah, we have a spot opened up. Do you want it? I was like, yes. And then 2 weeks of radio silence. And then the week before, they finally sent me the email giving me the time. They sent me the badges and all that. But as of Thursday morning, I was not on the schedule.
Yep.
And after I emailed, got them to fix it, and then they still didn't put the description in. The description never got into it.
Yeah.
So the panel was supposed to start at 6:15. We got there at 6 so we could just set the laptop up. I'm glad we showed up early because we found out they have HDMI connections, but the HDMI is not, the sound is not wired for the HDMI.
Yeah.
So I had to get the tech guy had to go get a dongle so I could plug in my laptop, because I said, he's like, well, why don't you have one? And I'm like, because it's a modern laptop.
Yeah, because somebody decided a couple of years ago that there should only be USB-C and nothing else on laptops.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I bought a dongle mind you, I checked the room the day before. Mind you, I wasn't supposed to be in the room. I got yelled at. It put me in a bad mood. But I checked just in case, and I brought a dongle for the HDMI to USB-C. So I was ready just in case, but I didn't realize the sound was going to be like that. But we got it working. I played some videos. The sound was too low. Ian says he thinks it's because the first video was so loud. The guy set the volume too low for the rest of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't bad because I wasn't planning to show a lot of videos. My biggest sticking point was that the panel started at 6:15 and they're 45-minute long panels. And my brain went, oh, we're ending at 6:45. So I ended it at 6:45 on the dot. And somebody went, this panel's till 7. And I went, oh, well. You guys can leave anyway.
but I mean, even we talked about like I'd rather a panel go under than over, because then you're rushing.
Somebody was like, "Do you want to do Q&A?" And I'd already told the tech guy I didn't want to do Q&A. And then when somebody said, "Do you want to do Q&A?" I said, "No, because I don't like Q&As. But if you want to ask me a question, feel free to come up here." And one guy did, and we weren't able to answer his question, but Ian figured it out on the train ride home. As for the panel, I think it got a good crowd despite not the schedule listing and everything. People told me it's because the title does kind of does what it says on the label.
It pops.
People really seem to like. I would show them shots of fake New York from Pokemon, New Torque City, and everybody just cracked up when I said, "This is New York, New Torque City. It's New York. Come on, guys." I showed clips from this really obscure anime from the 80s called Cypher, which is why I now have Against All Odds stuck in my head. It just shots of New York. Well, it's like, take a look at me now.
I'd like to thank you once again for having that completely embedded in my brain. Thanks to you.
That video cracks me up. It was shown to us by a friend of ours, Dave Cabrera. He's really obsessed with it.
Here's New Torque City for anybody watching the video. By the way,
So the Pokemon movie that this is from. It's actually set almost entirely within the park. It's like Pokemon Park, and they're setting up as a Pokemon refuge in the center of the city.
Yeah.
But anytime they showed outside the park, it was Times Square Ian just put up the shot of fake Times Square, which doesn't match it in any way, shape, or form, but you instantly know it's Times Square. And that was one of the points I made at so that's the dairy. I mentioned this to Ian and at the panel that the Pokemon Center looks like the dairy, which is a building in Central Park, which actually used to be a real dairy. And now it's a visitor center. It's also a gift shop. But I talked about it. I talked about how a lot of things are vibe-based, but there's a few shows that do research and they try to match exactly. That includes Bakano and Banana Fish. Banana Fish is now on Netflix, so if you want to watch it, they actually had to ban people from going to the Rose Reading Room. And, it might be because of anime fans visiting it because of Banana Fish. Because I was just like, as I was doing my research, somebody mentioned that, like, oh yeah, somebody told me I can go visit the chair, the infamous chair, only 2 hours a day. So I think the librarians are aware, but they did, they don't want people going in there just to take photos, because the Rose Reading Room is supposed to be a quiet room where you're supposed to be there to study.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get in there. It's just, it says for serious study. I think if you just walk up with a stack of books and be like, I am serious scholar, you can go in there.
Hello, I am person. Please let me be.
But yeah, it was interesting spirit. Mind you, I think it's the first time I've done a panel by myself in years. It's not because I don't love Ian. It's just that Ian, he helped me with the tech stuff, but he doesn't know the material as well as I do.
Exactly.
If you wanted to join next year, you're gonna have, you can study up. Maybe if you can dig up a few clips, because I need to make the panel longer.
We already know one or two clips that weren't included, like for instance the Moon Girl.
Yeah, it didn't even occur to me. I occurred when I left that what I did. So the way the panel was structured is I went through. I did like a north to south. I started in Midtown and then I kind of worked my way down. There's really nothing north of the park in anime. So I worked my way down and then eventually crossed the river into Brooklyn. And then I segued over to American animation just for fun. Like I put up the slide. That slide made people laugh. And it's like, can you do... so the practice in Japanese is called Seichi Junrai, which means like sacred pilgrimage, people visiting the sites where their favorite anime are shot. And I put a slide that said, can you Seichi Junrai for American animation? And I went, yes. I believe in you. You can do anything you set your mind to. And like I heard everybody crack up, so that was good. There was also a lot of applause for the slide where I said no generative AI was used in the making of this panel.
Oh, yes.
Because I have heard that this is a problem now.
Damn right.
I hate that this is a problem. I just said, like, I did everything on my own. I tracked down the clips. I researched, the various anime. I watched a bunch of them. I watched Love Live for you people. Also got them to crack up. I don't even think Love Live's that bad, but it's very shallow.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, this is so stupid. I hate this. But it's got so much like New York backgrounds. I had to include it.
I found the image that I took of my TV when Moon Girl showed Javits, by the way. So I'm just going to bring that up real quick.
Yeah, I think I'll put that in just because it's really funny. Like, hey, you're already doing Seichi Junrai by being here at this convention center.
Yep.
But yeah, like people seem to really respond to it. There was a few slides where I got I saw there were a few guys taking pictures of the slides.
Yeah.
I do want to put it up. Maybe we'll put it up on the Patreon first. Because I'm a little wary of putting up the slides and then having it scraped by an AI and then somebody steals my research.
Yeah, we could just put it on Patreon.
I do want to make it available. I might put it on my link tree just so people because I put up a barcode at the end of the panel so people could just track me down and annoy me. I thought it went well. Aside from the fact that it ended, I cut it a little short. I didn't even cut it short. I ended up doing every slide, even though I thought I wouldn't have time to.
Yeah.
I even showed off some gargoyles. People seem to crack up at that. I was like, gargoyles, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I think it went well. It's just, and I'm glad to be able to bring a panel like that to Anime NYC because so much is very corporate. Also, there's so many panels that are just like, oh, we're going to do a game show or we're going to do a dating show.
Part of the August thing, I feel like there is more room for fan panels now because, like we've kind of discussed already, that there really weren't that many reveals at the con. I think that fewer industry panels are happening, so there's more room on the schedule for fan panels because they already had their reveals at all these other cons.
A lot of companies might have bailed because there were so many open spaces on the schedule. You could see them because you'd look at the banner and it would say 4:00 to 4:45, blah, blah, blah panel, 5:00 to, 5:45. And then it was just empty, which means they had planned something for that slot and then nothing emerged.
Right.
But sometimes it's ridiculous, the stuff they reject. Because I remember, I think it was Anime NYC. I remember going to, it was like the anime of 1999. And I think it was Daniel Surratt. And Daniel Surratt said, I was going to do anime of 1989. And that was rejected because we all know nothing came out in 1989.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ian, this is the part where you're supposed to crack up because if you know, what was released in 1989 in anime?
Wait, Akira, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck, dudes.
Yeah. Also, Smashing Pumpkins, 1989. There we go. No, 1979. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn it.
you tried and you failed.
I tried. Damn it. Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'll do the panel again.
Taylor Swift, 1989. There.
Yeah.
That's actually accurate.
But yeah, I want to do the panel again.
Yeah.
You know, I'll add more slides. Like now I know I have the time to bake in a lot more. Because I would admit we normally don't do, it's not 45-minute panels. Like our panels are usually a full hour or 55 minutes.
Yeah.
So that kind of threw me off. But I was able to not go over. I was worried about going over. I hate when you have too much stuff.
Well, and talking about too much stuff, like, I mean, I felt like there was more I wanted to do at this Anime NYC than previous years. So I think things are trending in the right direction for them. I really do.
I feel like we didn't talk about the gaming section. Maybe that's what we could end this episode on.
Yeah.
Ian's got commitments that have to be handled shortly. So this is the second year, I believe, that Anime NYC has teamed up with Play NYC. Play NYC used to be its own thing. They used to do it at, I think, Terminal 5. And now it's the gaming area of Anime NYC. And it's basically just like a big hall of just, they have booths with different video games. They have some arcade, they have a bunch of arcade machines. They have board games that you can borrow, like a free play area, like all the standard stuff you see in a gaming area. There was escape rooms. That was the thing I would have liked to do with one of you guys, but we didn't get around to it.
Yeah.
They had, the escape rooms. There was some, it was cool. Like I actually played a lot of the games. Like I'm a gamer, but I go to shows and I don't play a lot. Sometimes I just look at it and go, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But I played what was it called? The Sloppy Forgeries. I played it at least like 3 times because I made Ian play it, and I think you liked it, right?
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
It's the one where they show you a picture of a piece of art and you have to copy it as much as possible in 3 minutes. And you compete against head on with another person, and then it scans it to see if you got the shapes and the colors right. And the guy had it set up that you could actually print out your sloppy forgery when you were done. So that was kind of cool. And the electromechanical helicopter game.
Oh, yes, that was amazing.
It was a game where it's a helicopter going in a circle. It's weighted with a bong on the other side, and you can adjust the speed and the power, which raises and lifts the helicopter. And there's poles on the side of the helicopter, and you have to tap the targets as you go around. It's electromechanical, not a video game entirely. No circuits involved except to make the score go up.
Right.
And it's so hard.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was lucky to get like as many points as I did in that thing. The lifting and the power, like you gotta execute it just right. Otherwise you're gonna screw up.
The reason I bring it up is like it's a highlight of the show for me because it's one of the kind of things that you will not find outside of the convention. Because there aren't a lot of arcades. The arcades are not really having electromechanical games anymore, unless you go to Musée Mécanique in San Francisco. So just to have this opportunity to play something I would never play anywhere else. I also saw they had this touch game called Flux. It's like it's sort of like Simon. You're competing head to head, but it's more like laid out like a keyboard. I looked up the company afterwards, and this is kind of what they specialize in: is event arcade machines, not arcade machines, but stuff that they bring to shows like Now Play This, which takes place in London. So I think the gaming section honestly is amazing. I think bringing in an outside partner was a smart idea. I like that. Again, we saw so many different types of games. I had a nice chat with this woman who makes like a one of those artifact games, where you open the box and there's like little brochures and postcards and little, artifacts to try to solve a puzzle or whatever. And I saw her at the NYU Spring Games Showcase 2 years back. So it was nice to see her again. So I had a nice chat with her. They do have some games design programs were there to try to recruit students. It was honestly my favorite place in Anime NYC.
And you got to print out your bad artwork.
I did. I have two things. I don't have them with me sitting here at this desk. I'm not going to run to get them, but it was nice to have a little souvenir. And I think it was overall that was the best part of the show. I think I would like to do more next year. But, the one vendor that I'm going to point out, which was awesome that you found in the first place, and then we wound up going to them so I could buy something from their booth.
the first ever, well, not first ever first ever in New York at least, Latina-owned anime and manga bookstore.
That was a Casita.
Yes,
Yeah,
Casita.
Manga Casita, I think.
Yep.
She is a Cuban lady. Like Ian actually decided to ask her where she was from to, avoid me the asking the question.
Yeah.
I would say like there wasn't anything at their booth that was really special, which I mean, the thing is they don't publish manga, so it's not like they're gonna have exclusives.
No.
But I think the appeal is trying to support a local business.
Oh, yeah.
She said they're gonna open up a location in probably around Williamsburg or Bushwick.
Yep.
That may or may not work. I feel like Bed-Stuy would probably also be good because you have, a bigger Latin population, in other neighborhoods. Though Bushwick does have a lot of Puerto Ricans, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I bought Pluto from her, so I got the first volume of Pluto. Pluto, if you have not watched it on Netflix, is excellent. So I'll see how the manga fares. So.
Yeah, but I like the idea of just like seeing local stores because I think that was something that was one of my most popular slides in my panel was I said this is not a anime shopping panel, but here's a list of places you can go. And I got a bunch of cameras going up in the air to take photos of the list I made. Mm-hmm. It's all shops that I had been to, with the exception of Anime Castle. I've never been to Anime Castle, but I listed, Japan Village, Tesso X, Kinokuniya, Book Off, Akiba House, Anime Castle, Tamashii Nations, and All in Anime. I've been to all of those except Anime Castle. Anime Castle's a legend, so they don't need me to
I think I might have went to it once, but just for like 5 minutes, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Japan Village is like my number one suggestion for people since they have the Daiso, Book Off, the food court, Sunrise Mart. It's a really great place. I've talked about it on the show before. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna fucking shut up about it, guys. Sorry.
There you go. Well, overall, I'd say 2 positive experiences at 2 cons in the month of August, and now we get to breathe a little bit until October for New York Comic Con, and we'll have content to come for that as well. Kris, any final thoughts?
I mean, just that, we're going to try to do that preview episode. Honestly, you know what? If you have questions, please send them in. If there's anything you wanted to know about attending a show with the Javits, or anything you'd like to know about New York Comic Con, please send those in so we can make sure we cover everything. Mm-hmm. Also, we'll be around in September. Ian will do the usual things like previews. We'll be talking about, all the shows that are wrapping up. And also in the city, we've got the Brooklyn Book Festival coming up. So that's something you can do if you're looking to scratch that convention itch before the conventions, as well as Art Mageddon in Ian and my old hood of Ditmas Park.
Yep.
Where people basically set up their front lawns to show off their artwork. It's actually really cool. It's been getting bigger and bigger every year. They have, food and music and, it's just fantastic. So, I mean, I'll say, where can you find me? The same places you always can, Pinky.
Yep. Lamp Bane all over the place, basically.
Yeah, another thing that made people laugh, I said, I'm Lamp Bane on every social media site that is not run by Nazis.
You need to point that out. It's very, very specific.
And even the Nazi run ones, because I'm not deleting my name because, people try to steal your identity.
Yep. Yeah. And just a note, programming note, I'm going to try to get a form of previews out before the end of this month. This episode is basically going to be coming out by end of day today as we record it, so that if I need to put a previews episode out on Thursday, there's at least a nice block in between 2.5 to 3 hour long episodes. So stay tuned for that. If I have to do it myself, I will. It'll just be a truncated version. If not, Raph is available for me to record tomorrow, so we'll figure it out one way or the other. But either way, thanks for joining me, and good times as always at cons, Kris. So
I know my camera's sick of my shit because it doesn't even want to put me in focus anymore. It's like, no, you're done. Well,
luckily, also Martha's train was a little bit late, so us running over didn't really matter that much. But
I figured.
Email address for Comic Timing is comictiming@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/comictiming. That's also where you can find the Comic Timing fan group. Please join it and participate. We really do appreciate it. Punch, punch, punch. YouTube.com/@comictimingpodcast is where you can find the video version of this and other episodes. You can find us on Blue Sky at Comic Timing. We're on Instagram as Comic Timing Podcast, and we're on Threads as Comic Timing Podcast as well. For Kris, for Ian, that's me, and for Zach Davidson, hey, he's cool too. I'm everybody out there. There's always time for comics. Please
I
do not
forgot.
advertise your purchase of Tenga. Don't do it.
You know
Don't
what?
do it.
I think it's less embarrassing to carry around a Tenga than it is to carry around a Faku book.